Daryl Woodland, the in-arena voice of the NBA G League's Osceola Magic. And you're listening to a presentation of Shreveport Mudbugs hockey. It's almost time to drop the puck. Let's send it ringside for the Landers Auto Group pregame show with the voice of the Mudbugs, Zach Grant.
822 miles later, and the Mudbugs have descended upon the Sun City as they look to bounce back against the El Paso Rhinos in the final road series of the season for the Bugs here in Texas. On this Saturday Night Live from the El Paso County Event Center in El Paso, Texas, Mudbugs hockey is on the air. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Zach Grant alongside Duncan Welker. And welcome into the Mudbugs warm-up show driven by Landers Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Ram, and Fiat. The Bugs are coming off a tough weekend in Corpus. As we discussed last week, the team was battling a virus that made its journey through the roster, causing canceled practices. And, you know, Duncan, we talk about the canceled practices, and the Bugs last week certainly looked like that might have been an issue.
No, you're right, and, you know, it's one thing to be disjointed, but it's another to kind of lose focus, and they absolutely did. They lost focus, but, Zach, I've always said it, and I'm going to say it again. I'll probably say it until the day I die. 24-hour rule, baby, and down here in the West Texas town of El Paso, Mudbugs are looking back to get onto it, and, you know, but yeah.
Now, John Byrne, he got the opening goal of the series, followed by 10 unanswered goals for the Ice Rays. Now, Tyler Hodges, he gave up 6 goals on that Saturday game, Duncan, but actually played pretty well. He stopped 34 shots, made a couple of nice saves, and kept the Ice Rays off the board in the second, which gave the Bugs the chance to stay in the game.
No, you're right, and it's like I said on the broadcast, it's really a goaltending game, and, you know, someone said it best to me, if you love goaltending, watch Shreveport Mudbugs hockey, because I believe we have some of the best goaltending effort to keep our team in the game, at least in my opinion, and, of course, there's also some other positives, Zach, I believe.
Yeah, you know, there are some positives after last week. Ryan Barrett returned to lineup for the first time since October. He had some solid playing time. And then also newcomer Zach Wilson, he brought a unique presence to the blue line. And we talked with Soupy before the game, and I think him and Remy being the deep pair going forward, probably the tallest tandem in the league.
Oh, has to be. And, you know, you mentioned it to me. That's almost like an NBA, college basketball, and, well, high school basketball, depending on the high school and the height of people. But, no, that's like, let's see here. So you got Remy Pusateri standing at 6'4", and you got Zach Wilson standing at 6'6", and that's just one of the biggest things. Big defenseman is one of the things that this Mudbugs team is focused on. And the defensive core also gave the Bugs a chance last weekend there in Corpus Christi. But, again, I'm going to mention it again, 24-hour rule, but this defensive core definitely can help, Zach.
Now, if we take a look at El Paso, they're sitting in third place. And we've been talking all season about how tough the division is. 4 points back of second place. They're also only 4 points ahead of the fourth place Ice Rays, as we'll take a look at the standings a little bit later on. But they come in 5-4-0-1 in their last 10. They dropped their last game to Oklahoma in a shootout right here at home as the Rhinos started 4 straight weeks at home. But the Rhinos are tough in this building. They come in 10-3, outscoring their opponents here by 11 goals. And only Oklahoma and Lone Star have played better at home this season.
Well, there's one thing to be said about home ice advantage, and I'll give credit to Rhino Country here. They show out, and they show out hard. But one thing I know about this Mudbugs team is that I believe our road record, although it's about the same. Well, not the same, but it's about pretty much 7-6-4 coming into tonight. You know, I think the road definitely has a little bit more advantage for us, at least in my opinion. But, you know, Zach, like I said, it's always good to be back at home in St. George's Pottahurst Coliseum, which will be next week.
Absolutely, finally. As we look at the series, this is meeting number 5 of the year. Each weekend has been a split. Mudbugs hosted the Rhinos in November, dropping the Friday game 6-3. That was my first Mudbugs game, by the way. Followed up with a shootout win 4-3 on Teddy Bear Toss Saturday. Followed that up coming here in early December. The Bugs traveled here, and they blanked the Rhinos 4-0 in game 1 and fell 5-4 in overtime in game 2. So it's been a very tight series thus far this year.
No, it really has, and so one player I want y'all to look out for, especially you, Zach, and of course everybody else listening, is Chase Sakriske. I talked to him back during that December series against these Rhinos. He has just a knack of scoring against the El Paso Rhinos. He scored not only in the series back in November against these Rhinos, but he also scored in that 4-0 blanking of the Rhinos back in December here at the El Paso County Event Center. And as for that, you know, that Saturday game where we took that loss in overtime, well, that was back in 2025, Zach. This is 2026.
Well, it's going to be a tough test tonight for sure for the Bugs as they try to right the ship in game number 36 of the year. We'll step aside on Landers warm-up show. Our conversation with head coach Jason Soupy Campbell is next on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com.
Alrighty, back here now on the Landers warm-up show with head coach Jason Soupy Campbell. Now, it's a new week, so we're not going to dwell on last week too much, but kind of as you look at that series, what was the missing piece out there?
We got it worked for the most part. I thought Friday night I felt like we could have won that game as well. We had enough chances, but just felt like all weekend we just didn't have that energy, to maybe finish that last play or win that one important puck battle or that one race to a puck. We were just missing that little bit, and that little bit makes a big difference if you can consistently do it throughout 60 minutes of hockey and throughout 120 minutes when you look at the whole weekend, because you can wear a team down, and I just felt like we didn't quite have that. But and again, even Saturday night we were in that game until late in the third period, and we let it go. But again, like you said, we're here in El Paso now, and hopefully I think we're all sick of learning these lessons. So all we can do is go out there and perform, and hopefully we've learned something and go out there and give it our best effort.
And we saw some new faces last week. Baird, of course, coming back. Wilson, the newcomer. As you look at those two players specifically, what would you like to see from them tonight?
Well, Barzy's a strong, powerful skater, and he needs to utilize that as best he can. He's actually got a great little shot that he's kind of developed as well. So if he can use his feet to get himself in the open, and he's explosive. So sometimes it's just taking two hard steps to get to a spot inside coverage to where he can get a pass and let that shot go, So he's a good player. He's fast, so he can bring a lot of speed and skill to a lineup. So we're looking for that from him. As far as Wilson goes, he's a headsy D-man. I think he's going to be a solid two-way defenseman. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of flash necessarily from him, although he can pull some moves out of his back pocket. He's pretty good with the puck, but it's more his IQ and his vision, being able to be elusive and delay plays a little bit to kind of look guys off and then make a good breakout pass and then help us get up the ice and then make good plays at the offensive blue line, whether it's D-to-D, tape-to-tape passes, or just getting a shot through on net, or just getting it back down deep below the goal line so our forwards can go back to work.
I think between him and Remy, when you put them together, they might be the tallest deep pair in the league out there.
They might be.
They got El Paso. They come in 10-3 at home. When they're at home, they're only outscored by Lone Star, so they're top of the division of that. Having been here for a few years, what kind of makes this place so tough out here?
Well, they're again, it's like playing in our barn, I guess. Like the fans are good. They can't get as many fans in here because of the way the seating is, but they're loud and they're proud, and these guys come ready to play here. They just feed off of the energy of the building, and but we played really well here our last two games here. We shut them out on a Friday night here, and then we turned around and gave up 3 separate leads on Saturday night to lose in overtime. So, we came in here and did a great job last time, and again, hopefully we learned the positives from that encounter, and we're able to bring that. And we just got to play tough. We got to outwork them. The stuff we talked about that we were lacking in Corpus, we got to make sure we have it here this weekend. Or it can be a long weekend, but either way, it's going to be hard. We just want to make sure we're doing it the right way, and hopefully that being hard the right way gives us an opportunity to win in the end.
Now, so far this year, you've had 2 weekend splits with the Rhinos, an overtime loss last time in this building, and also a shootout win back at home. What kind of has to be done tonight to kind of break out of that, those close games and get out ahead?
Well, we gotta stay disciplined. Their power play is really good. These guys can score some goals, so they're very good at reading the play from possession in their own D zone to finding guys through the neutral zone and getting these opportunities with odd man rushes, and their power play moves the puck around really, really well. They've got some guys that can really shoot the puck, and they're not afraid to shoot it. And they hit the net, and they've seen a lot of success with that. So our penalty kill is going to have to be good. Our discipline's going to have to be great. We're going to just have to outwork these guys and make sure we're staying above pucks and keeping the play in front of us. And every opportunity we get, we got to win the scrum battles and net front battles and put more pucks at the net and win those battles more than they do.
And lastly, before I let you go, I know you're so hip, so you've probably seen this, but everybody's looking back to 2016 now. 10 years ago, what was Jason Susie Campbell doing?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea what I was doing in 2016. Shoot, I didn't know people were talking about 2016 or whatever. I don't know.
It's a new TikTok thing.
Really? Oh man, see, I guess I'm I'm that old guy that's out of
too
the
old to remember.
But I have no idea. Probably sitting here in El Paso, I have no idea. But so sorry, I'm screwing that one up for you.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Soupy, and good luck tonight.
Thank you, Will.
We'll be back in a moment here on the Landers Warm-Up Show on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantlets, and grills. They've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters. Welcome back here in El Paso at the El Paso County Event Center as the Mudbugs warm-up show driven by our friends at Landers, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Fiat rolls on. Of course, Zach Grant on the other side of me. And, of course, we'll get back to learning more about the rest of the South Division as things stand. Let's learn those Moore's Into-It injury report as well as the healthy scratches real quick before we get started here. Of course, Jeremiah Roberts out with an undisclosed injury, as well as Alexander Perrin. He as well is out with an undisclosed injury. Healthy scratches for tonight include Gordon Guerrero out. We'll talk to him in the North Caddo Express Loop First Generation show, as well as Ty Easton and Gabriel Lopez Corsi. They are in the healthy scratch section of tonight. Of course, all injury reports and healthy scratches are brought to you by friends at Morrison Do-It Injury Lawyers. And ladies and gentlemen, as we go counting down here the minutes, we're going to start off with your Whataburger starting lineup, brought to you by your friends at Whataburger. Whataburger, just like you like it. First, for these El Paso Rhinos. At the left wing, number 18, Nolan Smith. At center, taking the opening faceoff, number 9, Gage Giblin. At the right wing, number 12, Camden Kaiser. At the left defense, number 27, Diego Hota from Japan there, from Fukuoka, Japan. And at the right defense, number 19, Chase Nitre. And in net for the Rhinos tonight, Michael Medeski, number 30, the Trine commit there. Of course, the head coach for the El Paso Rhinos is Mike Rivera. This coach is Austin Klein. The GM of these Rhinos is Corey Heon. And the head equipment manager is Eric Torres. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Whataburger starting lineup for your Shreveport Mudbugs. At the left wing from Victoria, Minnesota, number 21, Jared Greiner. At the center end, taking the opening faceoff from Woodlands, Texas, number 15, Jonah Jeffser. From Charlotte, North Carolina, and at the right wing, number 25, Liam Wolf Toby. At the left defense from Finland Falls, Ontario, number 29, standing 6'6" at 200 pounds, Zach Wilson. And at the right wing from Wheaton, Illinois, number 4, Johnny Burnt. And getting the start in net tonight for your Shreveport Mudbugs from Gormley, Ontario, and the Dartmouth commit, number 31, Tyler Hodges. Your Mudbugs are led by head coach Jason Subi Campbell. Assistant coach is Brett Smith. Honorary assistant coach is Chris Lane. And, of course, head equipment manager is Billy T. Welker. And Will's Knight athletic trainer is Hunter Robinson. That has been your Whataburger starting lineup, brought to you by friends at Whataburger. Whataburger, just like you like it. We'll take one final timeout. Opening puck drop between these Bugs and the Rhinos from here in El Paso, down in the West Texas, town of El Paso, that is. Coming your way shortly here. You're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke-flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be. Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters. Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com.
Are you looking for the perfect place to host your next event? Whether it's a birthday party, corporate get-together, school trip, or any private celebration, George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum has you covered. From ice-level excitement to unforgettable memories, your group will have an experience like never before. Start planning your next event today. Call 318-636-7094 to book your private outing at George's Pond.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Alrighty, back here, El Paso County Event Center. Bugs and Rhinos about to square off to open up this Friday series. Bugs dropped both games against Corpus Christi last weekend, ready to right the ship. It's a renewed energy out there, Duncan. The team's coming off the illness, and they're ready to play this weekend.
No, they really are. No, they really are, Zach. Sorry about that. They really are, and honestly, you can tell the energy of this Mudbugs team is, well, an energy that I think, well, there's really no other way to put it. It's a renewed energy. I think you said it best, Zach. It truly is a renewed energy for the Shreveport Mudbugs team as they break their goalie huddle with the one word that I believe has defined this Mudbugs team, even going back all the way before there was a Mudbugs team, family. But, and of course, El Paso in their orange jerseys with the gray striping and I can't think of the word, but Rangers style jersey. I can't think of the word, Zach. Of course, Mudbugs are in their white jersey with the bugs, with the claw in place of the U. And of course, a different change. They're in their white helmets tonight with the purple numbers with the teal outline as we get started just a moments away here in the El Paso County Event Center. Jonah Jaskell will be taking the opening faceoff for the Mudbugs, and of course, Gage Giblin for the El Paso Rhinos, Zach. And I think we're getting ready ourselves, buddy.
All right, here we go. Puck is down, tied up off the draw. Rhinos move left to right in this first period. They get the puck into the offensive end first. Wilson overskates it, into the corner it goes. Rhinos pick it back up in the very vibrant orange unis as it's now played up by the Bugs. It's Jonah Jassio flipping across for Wolf Talby. Icing is waved off, goes all the way to the corner. Wolf Talby delivers a big hit in the corner, takes the Rhino down. I believe that was Hoda that time.
It was.
Flipped up the wall again to center, picked up by John Byrne over the red line. Burt will wrap it around the board. Takes a weird hop back of the cage. Picked up along the near side by Nitre. Bugs force a turnover. Quick shot there is stopped, and that could bring us our first whistle. 39 seconds into this one, and a lot of back and forth thus far, but nothing too crazy yet.
No, nothing too crazy, but I got to say that hit from Liam Wolf-Talby to one Diego Hota, I mispronounced his name earlier during the Whataburger starting lineup, that big hit on Hoda from Liam Wolf-Talby. Excellent stuff there, and that's one of the things that everybody on this Mudbugs roster, I've talked to him twice, going to start the third loop, as mentioned to me, as Chase Sakrisky takes the face-off here for the Bucks.
40 seconds in, face-off goes to the wall. Rhinos will flip it out, up ahead on a pass. Costomo, he's had a great season for the Rhinos, tries to feed it there, up to the blue line it goes. Rhinos hold it in, Bugs can't clear, pitchfork toward the net, puts just wide off the stick of Gentilini that time. He's got 1 point thus far this year. Bugs will try to work it out of the zone up the near side. It's Sakrisky, knocked off the puck in the corner, played up to the top of the circles. Bugs get it back. It's Owen Case with it. He'll backhand it up the far wall, played out to center ice to the stick of Grayson Gerhardt. He'll flip it up ahead for Sakrisky. Zone away as Honka brings it in. He's the leading scorer. It's got 51 points on the year for El Paso as it's played back up ahead. Here's Barrett down the middle, off to his right, in over the line, tried to feed it for Sakrisky. Gerhardt picks up the loose puck. Far half wall there, batted away from him. Picked up by Brendan Murray, the 6'4 forward. He'll flip it off the board. That's tall for a forward, by the way. This one, icing's going to be waved off. A minute and a half in. Picked up back of the cage again. Bugs have a defensive end wrapped around the board. Pinching and holding it in that time is Murray. He'll send a shot that goes just wide. Picked back up of that by Adams. Tied up along the wall there, back of the cage. Four-player battle for it. Reed also in for some help. Through the Reed skates. Picked up behind the cage once more below the goal line. They'll flip it out up ahead. Tried to feed for Earhart back in the lineup tonight. Kicks it to his stick. Lost the puck, though. Semengo tried to get a touch on it. Hoagland over his skates at the blue line. He'll turn and fire it into the corner. Tracked down by Vinny Gaudette. As he'll play it up the wall. This one, icing's going to get waved off again as it doesn't get to the line. Picked back up by the Bugs. 17:48 left first period. Owen Case flips it off to his right. Up the far wall, dumped in. Earhart's going to give chase for it. It's going to be in a foot race with Nitre. Into the corner it goes, flipped up the half wall, back out to center. Rhinos have done a good job, and here's a chance right up in front. Down the slot is Laviolette, fires, big stop that time. That's a momentum killer right there, potentially, as it's played up the wall again. Case has it in the corner, rubbed off the puck, tries to feed it up the wall. Earhart pitchforks it out to center, picked back up. Nitre will turn and fire it in for the center red line, just wide of the net, picked up back of the cage by Poloni. Works off to the left side, flips it up the wall. Again, Bugs can't clear. Now they do on the second chance. Goes out for Willie Tremblay at center. Tried to backhand it for Vinny DiUlio. Leaves it off for Simons, though. Simons over the line right side. Down to the corner goes. Lost the puck. Squirts free back of the cage. Works over to the near side. Vinny back in the lineup, as we mentioned. It's the last couple of weeks as it's flipped up the wall again by El Paso. And out to center as John Burt tracks down his own blue line. 16:53 left in the opening frame. No score. Shots are 2-0 in favor of El Paso. This one goes back of the cage for Tommy Shore. 5'11" D-man there. Flipped up to the line. Wilson holds it in. Slides it across for Burt. Burt's shot goes wide off the boards. Wrapped around to the far side now. El Paso able to clear. Burt tried to poke it, and now a foot race going to be won. Down the far side, it's Kaiser. Kaiser gets tripped up. Delayed call upcoming. That comes off. That'll draw a whistle. And the Bugs penalty kill with 16:27. They'll get their first chance, Duncan.
Yeah, they will. And, well, you hate to see player get tripped up, and Tyler Hodges able to get out of the way before he ran into him. Because that was Camden Kaiser there, rolling on into the net. As of course now Zach Wilson will be going into the box, and of course now we'll see the first choice personnel penalty kill of the Mudbugs. And Zach, I sound like a broken record, and you know what? I think a lot of people will agree that I sound like it, but this Mudbugs penalty kill, one of the crucial parts of their game that's kept them in many of the games that we've been here for, and as well as the many games that Jen Gill has been a part of. As the faceoff now will come out to the left-hand side of Tyler Hodges. Jonah Jasper will take that.
The PK sits at 85%. That's fifth best in all of the NAHL. Hunka's got it, blue line, snaps it across far side to the point. Walks into the slot, shot there. That's turned aside again. Flipped up the wall, Mike Maloney up to the blue line, held in. Snap back across for Hunka. Again, a leading scorer. He's got 51 points on the season. 35 assists, 16 goals for him. Snap back up far point. Settling it down there is Tommy Shore. Slides it back across for Hunka. Give and go at the blue line at Shore. Down to the bottom of the circle for Kaiser. Kaiser works back up top. Again, towing the line is Shore into the slot. Now near side Hunka back up top for Shore. Slides it back. One-time drive from a knee. Great stop on a shot there from Kaiser. About 40 seconds in, as now it's tied up along the wall far side. Brought back up to the blue line. Held in, looking for a play is Shore. He'll feed it back off again. This time it's for Wolcott. Wolcott sleds it up for Hunka. At the blue line, holds it in. High slot for Shore. Feeds it back for Kaiser. Into the middle. Bugs will turn it and flip it all the way down the ice. Good clear for the Bugs.
No, that was a great clear, especially by Jonah Jasper, able to just throw it on in into the left-hand corner of number 30, Michael Medelsky there, as the Rhinos are going to take it back out here.
And about a minute to go on the kill for the Bugs. Up ahead, brought in over the line by Bergner, delayed offside. It's touched up, and the faceoff will come back out with 15:13 left in the first and 46 seconds left on the kill. But the El Paso power play on the flip side, sitting at 26.7%. That's near the top of the league as well. So it'll be a special teams battle here tonight in El Paso for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, now the faceoff will be out right in front of the Mudbugs bench. Griner will take that.
So Nolan Smith ties it up off the draw, goes all the way back where Nitre will pick it up. Nitre's got 8 points this year for the Rhinos, 4 goals, 4 assists. He works off the right side of his net, above the goal line, up to the blue line for Bergner. Drops it back for Nitre. 4-player entry. They all time it up. Down to the bottom of the left circle. Stolen away and turned out to the blue line on the second chance by Duke Earhart. They'll go all the way down. 21 seconds left on the kill as Nitre will track it once more for the Rhinos. Works off to the left of his net this time. Flips up the wall for Bergner. Bergner takes a hit as he dumps it in for the blue line. Onside it comes. Right out in front in the crease. Turned aside and all the way down by Jared Griner, his second Bug season, although he only played a game last year, and that's going to be a successful kill for the Bugs as they'll go back, and Wilson heads off to the bench for a new skater. Flipped up ahead, icing potentially, and it will be icing as Owen Case wins the race with 14:20 to go.
And of course, all icings this season are brought to you by our friends at Louder Baking Company. Of course, Louder Baking Company makes, in my opinion, the best king cake in Shreveport, and I'm going to mention it a few times. Zach, I'm a big food guy, but as for this Mudbugs penalty kill, great stuff from them. Continuing on, probably, well, like you said, fifth best penalty kill in the league.
So it's going to be a face-off win for Sakrisky. Eventually gets turned to the left wall, though. Rhinos trying to clear down front. Gerhardt streaks down the slot, tried to get a clean stick on it, was unable to, but he'll slide it up to the blue line. First shot there through traffic, got blocked away. Nice stop that time. Flipped up the wall now. Rhinos out to center. Up ahead, they come down the middle of the ice. Hit over the line is Costomo, and Costomo will flip it up and out of play. Now, Ian, he's had a great year as well. He's got 29 points. This is a high-powered offense for El Paso, and that'll bring us, I think, here to our first media timeout. We'll think about that on the other side. 14 minutes to go. Opening frame, no score in El Paso.
Are you planning a group night at the rink? Bring out your friends, coworkers, classmates, or teammates and take advantage of special group rates for future Mudbugs home games. Groups of 10 or more get tickets for just $10 each. It's affordable, it's fun, and it's a perfect night out at George's Pond. Call 318-636-7094 today to book your group and lock in your seats for all the Mudbugs action.
Back here in El Paso, no score, 14 minutes to go. Opening period, Zach Grant, Duncan Walker back here, and Duncan, before the break, you talked about the king cakes, and they had some fun this week doing a king cake eating contest video, which will air at our next home game. And here's Duncan to tell you a little bit more on how you can come out and be a part of the magic at George's Pond.
Of course, Zach, thank you, brother. And of course, if you're looking for a great night out at the rink, especially this next weekend against the Lone Star Brahmas, $44 gets you 4 tickets, 4 pregame skate passes, and 4 bags of that delicious George's Pond popcorn. And of course, how do you get it? Well, firstly, you use the code FAMILY when you're purchasing tickets online. And of course, if you need any more tickets, just call us at 318-636-7094. So once again, $44 gets you 4 tickets, 4 pregame skates, 4 bags of popcorn, and just all for $44. And it's for next weekend's game against the Lone Star Brahmas.
This will be a great time to remind you that the first period brought to you by Advanced Air Conditioning and Heating, offering installations, repairs, and maintenance for homes and businesses in the area. Log on to advancedac.com. That's advancedac.com.
Of course, now
controlled by the Bugs, flipped up the far wall. Out to center ice, turn back over. Troy Hunka will pick it up, wrap it around. This will be another icing call, Duncan, with 13:48 to go.
Yeah, well, Zach, and of course, like I mentioned, the icings all this season are brought to you by friends at Lauder's Baking Company. Of course, it looks like the faceoff now will come once again out to the right of one Tyler Hodges. Of course, Tyler Hodges so far stopping 3 of 3. Of course, only 13:48, so there's still a ton of time.
Face off to the far side. It's going to be Kaiser in to take it for the El Paso Rhinos. Actually, he's on the wall. That was Costumo, but nonetheless, the Rhinos control offensive end, far corner. Big drive there. Stop, turned aside. They've got it. Do the Rhinos below the goal line. Works to the near side. Up towards the wall. It's short. Try to get it to the blue line. Intercepted. Tangled up with Reed behind the play here. Bugs will control back of their own net again. Flipped off to the right side. Now comes near side for Reed. Reed skates up. It's his first Mudbug season. His last point came against these Rhinos back in December 12th. Comes in with 3 points, all 3 assists. There's a shot from the top of the right circle, rather, that gets turned aside. Now played back for El Paso. Out to center ice it comes. John Burnt tracks it down, and he'll turn and burn and fire it all the way down. Picked back up in the net by the Rhinos. They'll flip it out of the zone to the blue line. Second chance clear, does get it out. Played up for Burn again at center. Leaves it for Earhart, tried to feed it into the zone. Rhinos doing a good job again defending the blue line. Flipped up ahead off the edge of the tape with Gentilini. Comes near side for Diulio. He'll drop it back for Wilson. Wilson sends it forward. Outlet pass with nobody home. This will go all the way down for an icing call. And bring us to another stoppage with 12:46 left in the first.
Yeah, another icing there brought to you by Lauder's Baking Company as well as Doc's Sandwich Shop. I feel like people always forget about Doc's Sandwich Shop. I went there earlier in the earlier in the season when we announced Brett Smith as our assistant coach, and of course they make some good stuff, Zach. Of course, now the face-off will come out to the left of, again, Tyler Hodges. We'll see how things progress here as Vinny Giulia will win that face-off for the Bugs, Zach.
They played now at the right circle as Rhinos got control offensive end. Burt tried to leave it off back of the cage. It's taken away by the Rhinos for a moment in those bright yellow fireman-like jerseys. It almost looks like a Guns N' Hoses game out there. The Rhinos get taken down in the far corner. Good defense by Zach Wilson. They're throwing the body around. And that's what they wanted to see from him. Joining us here midway through the season. Flipped up ahead off the edge of Tremblay's stick. He'll get it back right in front of the Rhinos bench. Actually got hit in the face with the puck. It squirts free to Gentilini, who picks it up and over the line right side for the Rhinos. Gentilini dodges one defender. Now lost it. They still get a shot towards the net. Great stop there as Porco will track it down. Wraps it around the boards again for Gentilini. Gentilini tries the wraparound shot. Bug sealed away. Flipped up. Glove down at the blue line. Rhinos are unable to hold it in. Now they tag up. Now it's brought over the line, this time by Giblin. Bugs forced to turn over there. Tremblay, nice move down to below the goal line. Picked up by Burnt. He'll leave it off for Tremblay again. Willie in the right corner will bank it out to center ice. Goes off the edge of a stick, and it's played again by Smith. Rhinos have it. Up the center of the ice, 11:40 to go. First period shot 6-1 in favor of El Paso. There's a big drive. Paddle stop. Sent to the far wall by Hodges. Rebound right out in front. Bottom of the left circle. That one's denied as well. Played back up to the blue line. Now we'll get a whistle. And that'll stop time with 11:27.
Interesting stuff there. So it looks like I couldn't quite tell if the puck went into the netting or if was it just.
Yeah, I didn't see that one either. We just had a whistle.
Of course, now the El Paso Ice Crew comes.
Looks like something with the net there. The Ice Crew out here to work on it. 11:27, shots 7-1 in favor of El Paso. Granted, a couple of those came on the power play they had, but they spent a lot of time in the offensive end.
Oh, they really did. But, again, like you mentioned, a lot of those shots coming off of their one power play earlier, well, a couple minutes ago, I should say, as the Paso Ice Crew looks to fix the netting there. But, yeah, that's where we stand things right now, 11:27. But I will say one thing. Although there's only one shot on the board, then obviously we want more. The physical play by this Mudbugs team has been excellent so far. A little while ago, there was a big hit down here from from us, sending. I couldn't quite tell it was for the Rhinos, which you think I'd be able to with those bright orange jerseys, but the hit rather was from number 23, Evan Hoagland, as the faceoff will now come out to the right-hand side of Tyler Hodges. Jonah Jasser on it. Zach?
Well, they're just so bright that they blind you to everything else in the building as it's played by Smith. Sends it around the boards. Around the end boards it comes. Near side, picked up by Griner. Tries to dodge Kaiser. He gets a stick on it. Feeds it towards the net. Remy Pusateri will track it down. Remy flips it up the wall, but not out of the zone. Rhinos hold in again. Owen Case will track it down back of the cage. Whiffs on a shot there. Into the corner it goes. Rhinos get it right back. Sent back up to the blue line. Wrist shot through traffic. Good scrum right in front of the net. Case will pitchfork it out to center. Bugs have it for a moment, but can't get it past the red line as Kaiser will quickly wrap it back around the boards. Picked up again by Owen Case, far side. Owen Case, his first junior season, appeared in 27 games thus far. He had 3 assists last time the Bugs played El Paso, but now it's a 3-player entry for the Rhinos. Into the bottom of the right circle. Tried to feed it all. It goes off the back of the net, still controlled behind the cage. Picked up by Jonah Jasser. He has to fight 2 Rhinos for it, and Kaiser eventually gets a piece of the puck. Now it's sent over to the near wall for Murray. Murray leaves it off in the corner. Rhinos pick it back up offensive end. Just about midway through this first period. Neely almost lost it, but stick handles, keeps it in blue line. Right circle towards the net. Goes off the edge of the stick of Patolny. He's got it back. Feeds it for Neely. Walks down the slot. Big stop. Rebound. Bounces up in the air. Loose in the crease. A foot back and they score. And a rebound hurts the Bugs again. El Paso is on the board first midway through the first.
Well, that was just a rebound chance there from the Rhinos, and it looks like number 14, Jackson Poltuni, I believe that's how his name is said, but Poltuni there will just find the rebound chance. As we look up on the big board here, a good first stop there for Tyler Hodges as it bounced up and down, and then Poltuni was able to find the rebound and just get it on pass. And the other angle they got here, was able to see it and how it developed. Yeah, so it looks like right there, number 23, Simon Neely, after the rebound popped out of Hodges, was able to find the aforementioned Patoni, and then just got it in, got it past him. Now it's 1-0 Rhinos, Zach.
So that's where we stand as the 10th time of the charm for El Paso. That's the 13th goal this season for Patolny and his 11th assist for Simon Neely. Those two. This is, as we mentioned a little bit earlier on, a high-powered offense. They've got, Troy Hunka. He leads the team with 51 points. It's not even the best in the NAHL, believe it or not. It's only top 3, but nonetheless, it's 1-0 El Paso. They're on the board first. There is Hunka as the aforementioned player, as he'll send it into the zone. Picked up by Adams, wraps it around the boards, far side, flipped up to the blue line, but not out off the stick of Ryan Barrett. That's a player that Soupy really wants to see kind of come into his own as he comes back from the injury. As it's flipped in, dump and chase still come. Goaltender out to play it, sticks it over to the wall. Played up ahead. Rhinos get it back to center ice over the center logo. Brought in by Costomo. Ryan Baird steals it away. Sends it back in the slot. Giveaway right in front. Hodges just able to get a piece of it. Send it to the corner. Bugs pick it back up through the skates of Reed. Bounces up near point for Gaudette. Gaudette fires one. Got blocked away in front. Picked up by Grayson Gerhardt. He'll wrap it around the end boards. Reed will track it down far corner. Flips it up the wall to Baird. Baird breaks out of the zone. Up ahead. In over the line. Just barely onside. Bugs have it. Big drive from Gerhardt. One time at the slot. Well played that time by the Bugs, but just unable to get it as it's planked out of play with 9:14. But great setup there for Gerhardt.
No, it really was. And as they showed on the big board here, Chase Lakrisky was able to find Grayson Gerhardt right down there on the left-hand side of Michael Bodesky. And it's like I mentioned, there's something with El Paso that just gets Chase Lakrisky going. I don't know what I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something in the El Paso water. I don't know. But that's something that gets Lakrisky going. But hey, more importantly, they're able to get a shot on net, and of course now as the faceoff will come out to the left of the aforementioned Medelski. Bucks got to look to capitalize as they're down 1-0 here with 9:14 here.
Offensive zone draw. Hoagland has it stolen away from him. Wolcott will play it to the blue line. Rhinos try to clear. They do get it out to center. It trickles over to Zach Wilson, awaiting stick for it. He'll flip it up the far wall. Bugs try to enter, but again, El Paso defends the blue line well. Backhanded up to the Bugs blue line. Brought in onside by Gentilini. Flip back. Bugs control defensive end. 8:52 left. First period, 1-0 to lead for the Rhinos as it's flipped ahead by John Byrne. Into the corner, foot race for it. Hoagland comes out of nowhere, almost won the foot race. Sent back up to the blue line for Wilson. He'll backhand it into the corner again for Hoagland. He's got it back of the cage, works below the goal line, tries to feed it up the wall. He does for Byrne, waiting at the near point. Tries to stick it down to the hash marks, can't get it any further than that. Rhinos trying to clear. Now they'll play it up ahead. Zach Wilson's going to win the foot race, retreats near the Bugs bench, flips it up ahead. It's a touch pass ahead for Semango, but it's intercepted by the Rhinos. Brought in over the line by Hoda. Hoda in over the line as he had to go around Gentilini, who got knocked down there at the blue. 8:15 to go first period, wrapped around to the far end boards. Trying to play it out now, do the Bugs, and Hoagland out to center ice, got it from the red line. He'll go off for a change as he'll dump it in. Ends up getting a shot on net out of it, and that'll be covered for a whistle with 8:05.
Excellent stuff to at least get the puck onto the, in and then under the glove of Michael Danelski there. And so I guess looks like it'll record it as a shot, which, hey, that's always important, just getting it as recorded as a shot as the face-off now, and as the ref signals will go out to the left of the aforementioned Medelski. And like I mentioned, Zach, at this point, we're not to that quite level yet, but everything's a little more crucial here. But we're not to the level we were back in Corpus Christi.
And center gets thrown out that time. That's Jasser Wolf Talby in to take it. Liam has appeared in every game this year. His last point, though, was back on November 29th, and there's a shot off the face-off, goes off the side of the cage, flipped up now. Jasser controls, tries to feed it to the wall for Polonier, but he'll hold on. That came out. The Bucks are going to have to tag up. Delayed offside. Remy touches up, so that'll draw a whistle with 7:50. Now, we kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. This is the fifth meeting of these two teams. It's a total split thus far, one game apiece, and I think that's going to bring us to another media timeout. We'll step aside. 7:50 left in the opening frame. El Paso on top, 1-0.
Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace, gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mammoth and grills. They've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Back here in El Paso, Rhinos on top 1-0. If you'd like to join us at our next homestand next week and finally back at home at George's Pond, Mardi Gras weekend against Lone Star, you can get the family 4-pack, 4 tickets, 4 pregame skates, 4 bags of popcorn. Can all be yours for just $44. Use the code FAMILY when purchasing your tickets online at tickets.georgespond34.com. Or as always, you can call the office 318-636-7094, as my brain had to catch up there for a moment, Duncan. But nonetheless, get your family 4-pack, $44. And, of course, if you want to add tickets to that, you can always do that as well. Call our fine folks at the ticket office. They'll get you taken care of. 7:50 left first period. El Paso up 1-0. Bugs having a better effort, though, as you mentioned before the break, Duncan, as they try to right the ship after the illness last week. And now we're going to get the linesmen back and the wingers up here. Face off just outside of the Rhino end. Diulio went to take the draw near side for the Bugs. At the blue line, it's controlled eventually by Pusateri from the center red line. Brings it in over the line for Tremblay. Whiffs on a shot. Still has it. Right circle. Fired one. Tried to feed it right on the doorstep. And it's pushed just wide again. Bugs have it again. Offensive end trying to turn it towards the net with Simons. Wrapped around the boards is picked up by Tremblay in the right corner. Tries to feed it back in the cage again. Diulio picks it back up. Vinny overskates it for a moment. Gets checked into the corner there. The referee has his watchful eye on it right there. Up ahead, Remy tried to win the foot race, but it's going to be eventually washed out near the great chance, streaking down the slot that time. Waiting for it was Bergner. Rhinos hold it in. A turn and fire there from the left circle is turned aside by Hodges. Into the right corner it goes. Bugs pick it back up. Trying to clear out to the blue line, and they do so successfully. But again, it's picked up by the Rhinos. Giblin will dump it in from the blue line. Goes off, or actually, he'll stay out there. But now Tremblay in the left corner gets it. Feeds it across. Up the near wing it comes for the Bugs. Reed turns it back over to the far side. But lost an edge here. That was Adams. And now we're going to get a whistle for, I believe, an offside. Or maybe a hand pass will stop the clock with 6:50 left in the first.
Yeah, I think it was a hand pass. Although, looks like Nostalmo's yapping, but I think it is going to be no. looks like Costamo and Mitchell Reed there are yapping as Sabatino there just sends him off to the other side. Mitchell Reed will go back to the Bucks bench, but I know, I think that was a hand pass, Zach.
I think we're seeing things up here, Duncan.
No, I think we are.
That's like the third or fourth time now where we're kind of like, whatever. But we do have a unique broadcast position here. For those of you who did not see my tweet or my Facebook post or whatever, we are just above the penalty box glass here. We are on technically the second level, the Bucks bench to our right, but we're right above the benches, so things kind of get a little blurry from here.
Oh, no, they do. But they also get a little chippy between both of these benches as the El Paso now over to our left. Of course, the Bugs over to our right as Chase Sakrisky does take this face off, but Rhino's able to come away with it. Not for long, though, Zach.
Yeah, Rhino's controlled for a moment, but Barrett using his skating skills into the right corner. Soupy said he wanted to see him really use his skating skills. He's an exceptionally fast skater, and he won the foot race that time, but quickly it's brought up by Simon. Into the corner it goes. Up the wall, trying to feed it to the hash marks. Rhinos have it. Back up. Here's Gaudette, right point. Shot there, turned aside. Barrett picks it up, banks it off the wall for Sakrisky. Sakrisky with a nice move off to his left, gains his zone. He's got Gerhard to his left. Leaves it off for Grayson, who fires one in the top of the slot. That one's denied. And again, the Bugs are setting the plays well as Gerhard will dump it into the corner, but exceptional goaltending for the second straight week against the Bugs. They had that problem in Corpus, and this one's up and into the netting. But it's just so frustrating because they're putting the set pieces in the right spot, Duncan. These goalies are stopping them.
No, you're right, and Medelski's trying to get everything he can. Pad, blocker, glove, left, right, pool, pond, whatever you want to call it. He's just getting everything there to stop the Bugs. But you mentioned, though, and you're right, setting up the plays, and that's the most important thing. Just keep firing, create chaos, create chaos, throw it, see what happens. Again, that's the beauty of goals. We'll get back to that a little later, though, Zach.
So the Bugs have outshot the Rhinos 4-2 since that El Paso goal. The shot's now 12-5 in favor of the Rhinos. They had the opening 10th shot to the game. Now it's backhanded for Semengo on net. He'll get a glove stop. And that'll bring us to a whistle, and a great time to remind you that Mudbugs Hockey is brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. This is how we Sonic.
Love our friends at Sonic Drive-In, of course.
Yeah, our last home series, the Sonic was busy. Back-to-back 5-goal performances, getting the Route 44 drinks.
Yeah, the Route 44 drinks there. Didn't mean to correct you if that's what it sounded like as the Bugs win they did win the faceoff.
Hopefully, the Bugs coming home next weekend. We'll get a couple of more chances at that as Wolcott will play it into the right corner for the Rhinos. Looks for a play, tried to feed it up for Hunka. Good back check by the Bugs to turn it out of the slot. Rhinos get it right back, fed it towards the net for Hunka. Rebound, turn and fire that time from the left circle was Costomo. He's not afraid to score some goals either as it flipped up off of the linesman. Still gets up ahead. Bugs bring it in far side, but turned out by the Rhinos again. Hunka will track it down at his own blue line. Right side along the boards, glove down by Hoagland, gets knocked down. Bugs want a penalty, not going to get one. We roll on with 5:15 left in the first. Banked off the wall by Shore. Down low, bottom of the circle. Stick down with a high stick, but it's touched up by the Bugs, so that'll be washed out. 5 minutes to go. Bugs up the center of the ice at the center circle, and that's going to be a delayed penalty as the back check there for, I believe that was Laviolette, was all over the back of Semengo there, so that draws the whistle.
No, he really was. He was right all over Joe Semengo there, just holding them up with his stick, and so looks like hooking will be the call there as obviously, actually, no, it looks like on the board there for the Rhinos is number 2, Tommy Shore.
It's Tommy Shore, yeah.
So Tommy Shore going to the box. We'll see for the first time tonight this Scott power line power play for the Bucks, and I mentioned it last week. Power play is crucial, and I'm just going to say it again. Power play is crucial as it's not it's down towards the bottom half of the North American Hockey League as Bucks take the face off to the right as they were taking the face off, but stopped for a moment, Zach.
Yeah, so it's an interesting dichotomy for Shreveport on the special teams. Their penalty kills, we mentioned, is 5th best in the league. There's a quick drive from Gerhard who's turned aside. Their power play is 5th worst in the league. So there you go. As Burnt tracks it down, he'll settle it down back of the cage. 4:51 to go first period. Bugs trail by a goal, but they have some great effort early on. Here's Gerhard in over the line right side. Works to the bottom of the circle. Crashes towards the net. Tried to feed it. Diving stop. Rebound is loose in the crease. Bugs trying to turn it in. That was Semengo waiting on the doorstep. Goes up to the blue line for Gerhard. Snaps it across for Burnt. Right circle. One-time drive. Rebound. Sprawling. Another big stop. Bugs still have it. Minute 27 to go on the power play. Here's Burnt. Again for Gerhard. Right circle. One-time drive. That one turned aside. Rebound again. Crashing towards the net. The Bugs are creating chaos. Big collision there as it sends a couple of players down. Burnt tracks it down far half wall. Then to the bottom of the circle. Back up top for Gerhardt, but he wasn't home. He comes all the way out with 1 minute and 9 seconds to go. He'll leisurely stroll after that puck and wait for everybody to get their line change as he turns it into the right corner. Drops it off. Bugs trying to work out of the zone now. 57 seconds rather on the power play. Adams leaves the puck off, gets hit. Now it's Earhart up the center of the ice. Off to his left. Will dump it in for the blue line. He gets spun into the boards there. Picked back up, though, by the Bugs offensive end. Earhart waited for it. Tried to one-time pitchfork it. Jasser gets it back at the left point. Centering feed there. Bugs with some good pressure on his power play. Up top again for Jonah Jasser. Slides it across far side. Back into the slot. Up top again. Jasser one-time drive. That got blockered away. Rebound in the slot. Rebound again for Earhart off the side of the net. Another big stop. 25 seconds. Here's Jasser, blue line. Off to the right point. One-time drive for the near circle is Hoagland. That stop. Back up top for Jasser. Jasser feeds it into the slot, and the Rhinos are going to clear it. Somehow escaping that pressure there for the Bugs. Drop back in. Here's Jasser in over the line right side. Walks into the slot. His shot turned aside. Hoagland tracks it back down along the near wall. Turns it down into the corner. Back up top to the blue line. That's Pusateri driving one, and another stop. I mean, that was a barrage on that power play unit there, and they just can't get it past it.
No, it was. It was a barrage of shots, and I just, well, but the good thing is, though, just getting shots on the net, and that's the most important thing because, again, creating chaos, creating chances, creating rebounds. And I'm telling you, the more and more this Mudbugs team does that, there were some audio issues earlier with myself, but nonetheless, Zach.
Rhinos win the D-zone draw. Flipped up ahead. Owen Case going to have to win the foot race for it. Into the left corner it goes. Leaves it off for Remy. Remy will bank it up the wall. Held in, though, by the Rhinos' far side. It's that near side where Tremblay will pick up the loose puck and flip it out to center. 2:44 to go in the first period. That was a great-looking power play for the Bugs. We talked about it being the 5th worst in the league, but that looked like some 5th best right there as that one's into the bench and out of play. They just, again, it's so frustrating to watch these last couple of games for the Bugs, and they've had the chances and they've executed. They just can't get it past the goaltender.
No, you're right. And of course, last week for Corpus Christi, it was in there, and of course this week it's trying to find and beat Michael Medelsky, but just, you know what? But like I said, just keep throwing it, keep creating chances, keep just going and going and going. That's the beauty. I was going to mention this earlier. Goals count no matter where they come cleanly, dirty, or off a rebound. Goals count nonetheless.
This will be Sakrisky, left side offensive zone for the Bugs. And we'll do it again. He got a good jump on the center that time.
No, he really did.
He was going to go at the net with that puck, but the linesman says, let's do that one again. So Chase back into take it left side of the zone. 2:34 left in the first period. Bugs trail 1-0. Thanks for tuning in with us. Here, first intermission report coming up in a nice, swiftly moving first period. As the Bugs send one towards the net, goes off the side of the cage, and Podolsky out to play the rebound. We'll cover it up with 2:25 left in the first. Again, Bugs back at home next weekend for Mardi Gras weekend against Lone Star. And everybody, I think, got to look at those jerseys. The fans liked the Facebook post enough, and we had to release them at midnight, and they look great.
No, they really do look great. And, of course, I talked with Gordon Guerrero, and that's going to come up later on the North Caddo Express Loop first intermission show, driven to you by our friends at North Caddo Express Loop. As face-off will be out to the left, and Medelsky and Rhinos will win that face-off, though.
The Rhinos wrapping around the board, up ahead to center ice, quickly to Smith. Over skates it, but gains the zone. Right side, waits for it, sends it off to the left for Shore. He'll backhand it around the boards. Played now to the right circle again, offensive end for the Rhinos. Bugs trying to clear it out as it's in the skates there along the near half wall. Fed back up top for Giblin. Giblin into the corner it goes. Rhino got taken down there, and it's banked out to center. Up ahead for Gerhard. He's got it at center. He'll dump it in. Grayson Gerhard, the Corpus Christi trade in his 3rd NAHL season. He had a great weekend a couple of weeks ago at home. And, of course, got to see his former team last week as Kaiser will bring it in over the line, and that's going to be offside. And that'll draw a whistle with 1:43 to go. Shots, Duncan, most importantly, are 12-9 right now.
Yes, they are 12-9, of course, in favor of the Rhinos. But more importantly, that number for the Bugs has jumped. What's the word I'm looking for here? Extrament? I can't think of the word, but you get the idea.
I'll say it's 8. They're out shooting El Paso 8-2 since the goal, I think. We're going to go with that math because it's late. Now that we're here in Mountain Time, as that one's over to the right circle. Flipped up the wall again. Bugs can't clear it out. Now it's finally Banked out to center ice, but a speedy Nitre will track that one down for the Rhinos. Back into his own end, stands on top of the right circle, feeds it up to the middle. Now it's brought in over the line by Murray, right side. Tried to hit it into the slot, but it goes into the corner, wrapped around the boards again, back of the cage, flipped up the wall for Porco. Porco drives one through traffic. Murray tried to touch it right at the top of the crease, but it trickles to Hodges, who makes a stop, and Tyler Hodges comes in, the first commitment of the season, going to Dartmouth, and he's had a nice year, and he gets that stop with 1:09 as the beer pyramid over to our right is starting to be about a row and a half now.
Yeah, I know the beer pyramid's starting to get up, and of course back to Tyler Hodges, first commit of the year for the Bugs, and of course been doing well so far this season for the Bugs, and well, we'll just have to see how the game progresses, as well as that beer tower progresses, but I digress. So
67 seconds to go in the opening period. Bugs will play it up the wall, intercepted right at the blue line. Centering feed there, goes wide of the stick of Laviolette. He'll turn and fire it from the left point. That one stopped. Picked up by Pusateri, backhanded for Wolf Talby, leaves it back of the cage. Flipped up ahead now for Griner at the center line. Trying to bite 3 Rhinos for it. Now it's Jasser at center, intercepted. Laviolette flips it across and takes down Paluni, that time right in front of the bench. Jasser gloves it down to his stick, brings it in left side. 37 seconds to go. Jasser crashes towards the net, feeds it into the slot, and another save by Modelski. They had Griner waiting right there for it, and they'll mix it up here after the whistle with 33 seconds left in the first. It's been a calm first period thus far, but now they're mixing up as Griner trying to go around the linesman to get at somebody that time, but that's not Griner. Griner's over here. That's Wolf Talby that time.
Yeah, I was about to say I did look like Liam Wolf Talby, although, and now he's yapping on down there to the El Paso Rhinos, and well, for one thing, and he's still yapping, he's still going, and well, you gotta love that. But with 33.4 seconds here, Bucks are gonna try to fire something, if anything, to come, or rather to get put on net as Jason Christie will take the face off to the right of the aforementioned Michael Modelski.
You know, I think Liam gets overlooked because he had that great first half of the year. He's been quiet scoreboard-wise, but he's still a consistent presence, as that's a shot that's flipped up out of play. But, you know, he last point came in November. His last goal prior to the one he had a couple of weeks ago was back in October. But he's just a scrappy. I love watching Liam play. I mean, I love watching the whole team play, but Liam especially. And, you know, in 18 AA, or 18 AAA rather, back in 2023, he had 56 points in 48 games.
That's something as the Rhinos able to win that faceoff take it away there.
Rhinos ramp it up to center. Brought in over the line left side, trying for one last rush. Tried to Tonka the trailer down the slot, but it goes just wide of his stick. Into the corner it goes. Rhinos try to flip it up the wall at the hash marks. Bugs control defensive end. 10 seconds. Just got to get one more clear, but Neely holds it in and fires one, and Hodges makes a stop. 8 seconds to go. Just got to win the faceoff, Duncan.
Yeah, no, you really do. And, of course, Tyler Hodges just swallowed up that puck. It's almost, so one thing I love about goalies, and especially in, of course, Tyler Hodges' case, pucks are just drawn to gloves like a magnet to metal. So hopefully I got the science right on that. I'm not great at math, not that great at science either, but nonetheless, though, Zach, Tyler Hodges stopping all but one, of course, and doing well as the face-off false start there, though.
Well, you know, you're not good at math. That could hurt as a broadcaster, but not being good at science will give you a pass on that one as the face-off is one into the corner. That's what they need to do. Reed will just hold it against his skate, and they'll mix it up, and it squirts out to the blue. I don't know how it got to Hunka. He fired it right at the buzzer. They're still tied up in the corner, and these things start to kind of get a little testy down there right now, but nonetheless, we have reached the end of the opening 20 minutes. Good period for the Bugs after that goal they gave up. 1-0 our score. After one, your thoughts before we head to the break, Duncan?
Well, you know, it's like you mentioned, a lot of times throughout these last few minutes, after the Rhinos scored that goal, Bugs outshot them, and I think that's the biggest thing. Soupy and Smitty are going to want to talk to the boys about just getting shots, keep throwing on net. I know that the sequence there didn't make sense, but you get what I'm saying, though. They're wanting to throw shots on net, create chances, create chaos, and I think that's the theme for this Mudbugs team: create chances, create chaos. And of course, Nador Polonia, as we'll talk to him in the Sonic Drive-In second intermission show, he said one of the biggest things for this team to do is just, well, like, you know, create chances, create chaos, but also win the dirty stuff. Win the dirty stuff, and of course, he's talking about the dirty goals, and, you know, like I mentioned, goals can be scored anyway, and that's the beauty. They all count: clean, dirty, rebound, what have you. But as for this period, though, Zach, I think the biggest thing is the defense has been playing well. Tyler Hodges been playing excellent, minus the one goal. But again, that's the one fault. That's the one fault in Tyler Hodges' Stars. But Zach, I think the second period is not only going to be a little more chippier than this first period was, but I think it's also going to be a little more skillful as well. But that's all I got for right now, though, Zach.
Well, they just need, we talked about it last week. The effort was not what anybody wanted. Soupy said it too. He's upset because he said every time we've played Corpus, both at home and on the road, they haven't really given a true Mudbugs effort. But tonight, thus far, they're getting the shot to the net. You mentioned of that power play. I mean, that looked like a NHL best power play out there, the way they're getting the shot to the net. But nonetheless, they trail by a goal heading into the intermission. We'll take a timeout. Back in a moment. The North Caddo Express Loop first intermission report on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mammals and grills. They've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters. Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be. Hey Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
First intermission report brought to you as always by our friends at North Caddo Express Lube and Vivian, offering oil changes, inspection stickers, transmission services and vehicle and key fob batteries. Mention the discount code MUDBUGS25 and get 10% off your service. Call 318-375-5823 for more information. And as always, Porter's Industrial is delivering the difference for Mudbugs Hockey, locally owned and operated for over 50 years, providing floor mats, uniforms, and facility services for your company. Zach Grant, Duncan Welker back here in the first intermission report. Bugs getting outshot 15-10. They've had some good chances, but ultimately they are on the lighter side of the scoreboard after the opening 20 minutes. 1-0 for the Rhinos, scoring just after their power play, but the Bugs penalty kill, Duncan, has been strong yet again.
Once again, you're absolutely right, Zach. Once again, this power play has been strong for the Bugs. Well, actually, the power play was strong for the Bugs, but more importantly, to your point, the penalty kill as well has been strong for the Bucks, but of course the power play did not accomplish what needed to be done, which was, of course, get the Bucks on the board. But again, you have to like the effort from the power play. I liked the effort. I know you liked it too, but of course we'll have to see the more power play chances develop. Let's see if if those good vibes of the power play continue.
So as you're saying that, I'm watching what's going on here. They got musical chairs out there. And the kid in the Avalanche jersey and the kid in the fluorescent orange Rhinos jersey were like those kids in Hershey last weekend. They staged a fight out there, and they almost missed out on the chair. So what does that tell you?
Well, yeah, that does tell you something. And I saw that Hershey video. That was interesting.
It was all fun and games till the goalie comes from all the way down and just crashes in. But I guess I was hearing a little bit. Hunter Robinson, the trainer, and I were talking last night as they fight again there at center. The goalie is a sister of one of the teammates, and she was standing up for her brother, I guess, is kind of how that started. But, yeah, no, that's interesting time for sure. This is a good battle going on here.
Oh, I know. This is like something out of amateur wrestling here, and well, WWE included, but amateur wrestling right now. I think I just saw a takedown, 2 points there, but they're just going for the chair. They're just going and going. Of course, now they, and of course, man in the black Rhinos jersey there gets it as the horn decided to go. And that was just
the horn's like, okay, time to stop fighting. It's time to go. But nonetheless, that is our intermission entertainment. They're showing the replay on the board. I love that. But we didn't get to talk about it pregame, Duncan, so let's go ahead and take a look around the NAHL South Division, kind of what this game means for these two teams tonight.
Of course, Zach, in terms of standings, Lone Star is still at 54 points, standing in first place with 25-6-1. Of course, a 25 wins, 6 losses, 1 overtime loss, and a stat that I feel like goes unnoticed in a lot of other leagues, except here in the North American Hockey League, shootout losses. Lone Star has 3 shootout losses. That's one of the things a lot of people tend to overlook, I think, shootout losses. But moving along here, New Mexico 21-13-2-1. Of course, these Rhinos 18-13-1 with 41 points. New Mexico at 45. So, of course, El Paso sits at 41. Corpus Christi 17-15-3-0. They sit with 37 points. And then the Warriors 17-14-1-1 with 36. And, of course, the Bugs are tied with them down there in 6th with 15-14-3-3. So, really, Zach, for the Bugs, this weekend, and well, obviously tonight, but really this weekend as a whole, definitely crucial as we get into the back half of this season, as we get into playoff, looking at playoff standings and playoff positioning and all that fun stuff. Of course, the top 4 teams in the South Division make the playoffs. So it's a little different than the last few years where, there were play-in games and so forth and so such. But, yeah, no, only the top 4 teams make the playoffs. And so for the Bugs, this weekend and even next weekend, as a matter, really just, I'll just put it bluntly, Zach, the rest of this season, the rest of this stretch, crucial as crucial can be. So moving on to the rest, of course, Odessa sits there in 7th with 33, and then Amarillo sits with 29. Of course, Odessa's record 14-15-3-2, and the Wranglers 14-20-0-1. Of course, that is just the South Division in terms of standings. I'm not going to go to the rest of the divisions because, well, let's be honest, Maryland, Maine, and just fun times. Yeah, but of course, I believe that the South Division standings are basically like a cage fight, Zach. They just go back and forth and back. Well, I say like a cage fight, but then you, of course, have that Lone Star thing sitting right there. So
I say it's a battle of 2 through 8 this year. Lone Star's been in first place since day one, and they're going to continue that, I have a feeling.
Yeah, I do as well. But yeah, that's where we sit right now, and of course the Peps, the chug cam there, and of course beers and sodas and whatever else.
So they need to chug over there and get the beer pyramid going again. It looks like it fell already. They're down to the bottom row again. But anyway, that's where we'll leave that, and we'll step aside as North Cattle Express Lube First Edition show rolls on. Duncan Welker sits down with Gordon Guerrero on the other side on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area, and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage, and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be. Welcome back into the North Cattle Express Loop First Intermission Show, driven to you by our friends at the North Cattle Express Loop in Vivian. Mention the discount code MUDBUGS25. Again, that's MUDBUGS25 to get 10% off your order. Now joining me is Mudbugs defenseman number 20, Gordon Guerrero. Gordon, welcome back in.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, yeah. Of course, it's the third time now. I've tried to get everybody at least twice, but that's the beauty of this job. You know, you want to make sure you get everybody at least once, maybe twice, but then, you know, you have some fan favorites, and you're one of them.
Oh, really?
Well, at least that's what I've heard. I'm kidding, you are. But, Gordo, tonight we come in against the El Paso Rhinos. Of course, not in the lineup, you get a night off. But one thing I do want to know, though, and I think a lot of people kind of don't know this side about healthy scratches. What do they, and I know what they do, and you know what they do. Fans don't know what they do. What I want to know is, when fans see those players in a suit and tie, up in, you know, for example, back at George's Pond at Hirsch Coliseum, up in the big moon suite there with Kayla Watley, advertisement on there. What do the healthy scratches do for the game while the boys are all on the ice?
Mostly just in between periods, we'll like just go down and give fist bumps and that kind of stuff. And also sometimes the coaches will have us take face-offs and like stats occasionally, you know. And we just watch the games up there basically.
Yeah. Okay. So on top of watching the game, you guys take stats, things like that. Nice, okay. So, like I mentioned, Gordo, we come in tonight in El Paso here at the El Paso County Event Center against these El Paso Rhinos. Last time we saw them here in El Paso, we took the split series, and I say split series because we won on that Friday night and then lost in overtime on that Saturday night back in December. So, Gordo, what was the word about these El Paso Rhinos coming into tonight, you know, that Soupy and Smitty have said to you guys about this El Paso team? Because granted, we saw them last month, but, you know, teams change from week to week, month to month, heck, even day to day or hour to hour.
I'd say that they're both fast and physical. Like, they have both sides of the puck. They do both sides of the puck pretty well, and mostly just trying to get our legs back into it after a Corpus weekend that we probably wish we could get back.
Absolutely.
But just how fast they are and physical.
Yeah, so they play both a fast and physical game. So almost, would you say it's almost similar to ours or a little different?
Yeah, I'd definitely say that we have similar vibes to each other, and they also have a ton of skill too. Like they have a pretty good goal scorer as well, and, you know.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. And of course, you mentioned the Corpus weekend last week. Of course, we do wish we could get that back. I wish we could get that back on the broadcast side of things, but obviously the boys want to get it back on that side of things. But as I've always said, Gordo, it's a 24-hour rule. We move past that, and we're going to move past the hockey side of things. At least for now, we're going to move into you, Gordon Guerrero. So, Gordo, it is the upcoming Mardi Gras season, of course, in Louisiana. Mardi Gras is pretty much, well, I would say, if not second to Christmas, heck, even first to Christmas, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
It's a big holiday. I'll just put it bluntly like that. This is going to be really weird to ask, but do they celebrate Mardi Gras up there in Nebraska? Or?
Nope.
Really?
I think mostly it's a Louisiana thing, or like
Like a
Catholic
yeah.
thing. Yeah, but like I don't really know any other places besides Louisiana that does it a lot. Like,
Yeah. No, I get that. And of course, you know, there's the big stuff down in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, but also there's a lot of big stuff here in Shreveport. Some parades that come to mind, the Crew of Gemini, as well as the Highlands Parade. Those are two of my favorites. Of course, we do have the Mardi Gras weekend coming up next week on the 23rd and 24th against Lone Star. I'm looking forward to that one. The jerseys are sick, don't you?
Yeah, I'd say maybe my personal opinion, the logos inside of it, they're a bit much, but that's just me.
No, I get that.
I'm more of a clean.
No, I get that, Gordo. I get that. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
But I do like them.
No, I do. I really like them, but of course that's what you get when you have somebody who's born in Louisiana talking about Mardi Gras jerseys. And speaking of Mardi Gras, I was going to ask you this. Were you part of that king cake little thing coming up that they were filming?
No, I was not.
Have you ever had king cake?
No, I haven't.
Really?
I have not.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to go over to our friends at Louder Baking Company and get some king cake. I think they make the best king cake in, if not only Shreveport, but I think in the entire architects area, but also really, I think in Louisiana. But hey, that's just my opinion. So
definitely have to try it.
Oh yeah, of course that's Louder Baking Company. So one of the newest corporate partners of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey, and they're great people, as well as the folks over at Doc Sandwich Shop over there. So Gordo, moving along here. Well, of course I talked about Mardi Gras, but what is some of the, how do I put this, non-usual holidays? I know that sounds really weird to say. Of course, you have Easter coming up way down the line. Do you have any like traditions, or not traditions, but like holidays that you celebrate that maybe not everybody else does?
Honestly, at least my family is pretty traditional. You know, nothing really much out of the blue. I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
No, nothing.
Pretty traditional.
No, you know what? There's nothing wrong with it. And I know that was kind of a weird question to ask. I know every guy's different with this stuff their family celebrates. So, Gordo, I'm going to ask you one last thing, and I'm going to let you get going here. Gordo, like I mentioned, it is, well, actually, I've mentioned this to a couple guys. It is the new year. It's 2026. Gosh, we're barely even a few days into 2026. What's one of the main things you think this Mudbugs team can do to keep that intensity theme that we've had all season, but also to keep that inconsistency theme back in 2025?
I don't know. I mean, probably just coming to practice every day with a purpose and just focusing on one day at a time, not getting too, like, I don't know how to describe it, but just not overworking ourselves, but still getting, like, a good amount of work.
No, I get that,
Just coming to practice every day, really, with a goal.
Absolutely. And Gordo, I remember the first time I talked to you, I said you looked like Clark Kent. I still hold that. Theory. You got the slick back hair, you got the glasses, the suit, tie, and the blue dress shirt there. So, Gordo, always good talking to you, buddy. I'm sure the fans love to hear from you, as always. And, of course, thank you for joining me here on the North Caddo Express Loop First Intermission Show.
It's always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with more here on the North Caddo Express Loop First Intermission Show. You're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network. We'll be back in a moment. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke-flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Welcome back inside the El Paso County Events Center. Of course, the Rhinos lead this one 1-0 over the Mudbugs. Of course, now as the referees are coming out to check on things, and of course the ice is getting looked at. But while we have a moment before both teams come out, let's take a look at the rest of the South Division scores going on tonight. Of course, firstly, Oklahoma 4-3 over the Odessa Jackalopes. And of course, I mentioned Oklahoma sits at 36 right now, 36 points, I should add. They sit at 36 points. Tied with the Mudbugs right now, so all things considered. Moving along here into the rest of the South Division, Corpus and Amarillo, they are tied 1-1 at the second intermission, rather. Of course, New Mexico and Lone Star are tied all up at 1 second period intermission. Of course, goals coming from Sean Smith of the Ice Wolves and then Vincent Galar of the Lone Star and Brahmas. And of course, here in El Paso, it is 1-0 in favor of the El Paso Rhinos off the goal from one Jackson Petonier. I believe I said that name right. Sometimes names are fun. So, of course, now referees are looking at it as the Mudbugs coaching staff, or at least Mudbugs head equipment manager Billy T. Welker is down there on the bench getting his area set up. So, Rhinos are down to our left, Zach, and again, you mentioned you got those bright orange jerseys. It's always fun when the team has a bright orange jersey, and I say fun and in the nicest way I can. But now more importantly, of course.
Well, and at least the numbers are readable.
Yeah.
You know, they're white jerseys. For those of you who were at George's Pond when they came to us, those are a little more difficult.
No, those really are. And well, see, I'm somebody who likes to read off a lineup sheet, but I also like to read the numbers because, that's the equipment manager in me. I also like to notice the team jerseys around the league. And again, that's the equipment manager in me. Of course, now the Rhinos are coming out. Bugs are coming out as well to our right. We're going to go opposite each other as Tyler Hodges gets ready to go to his post. Bugs will skate from left to right. Rhinos from right to left, at least from our vantage point, Different depending on if you're watching on NATV. And there's 25 seconds left into this intermission period here, Zach. Now, Zach, what do you think's going to happen in the second period?
We'll see. I think the Bugs, it's frustrating to be down a goal, especially with the way they played.
Oh, yeah.
but you got to stick to the game plan. Everything worked.
Yep.
I mean, as we talked about at the end of the first period, I mean, they had 4 or 5 plays that were set up perfectly. They executed, at times, and Soupy will tell you this as well, there's been a lack of execution in the first 35 games at times. There is no lack of execution tonight. They have the shots.
Yep.
Modelski's just done a great job.
No, you're right, he has. And of course, the Bucks are going to look to find a way to crack Michael Modelski. Of course, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey Night, wherever you may be, whether you're back home in the Arklatex or in various parts of the United States, Canada, and Europe, or wherever you may be. Thank you for tuning in to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. And first, we'd like to remind you, as always, this second period is brought to you by our friends at Nefera and Associates Investigative Risk Analysis Services, personal matters, child custody cases, or any internal problem steps within your business. Just call our main man Jerry Nefera at 318-635-9944 or discuss the case, or log on to NeferaPI.com. Zach.
Controlled by Hoda, flips it to the wall immediately as the Rhinos win the opening faceoff of the second period. Shots 15-10 in favor of El Paso. It was 10-1 in favor of the Rhinos at one point. So the Bugs played great in the second half of the period. Here's Wolf Talvey down the middle. Flips it off to the left. Toe drag in the slot. Fired. Rebound loose in the crease. Jasser trying to put it back. It goes off a man in front. Rebound again. Modelski squirts through the crease, and the Bugs are just another inch away. Rebound again. Sent towards the net by Grinder that time. Banked off the wall. Up ahead. Now you got to play defense coming the other way. Rhinos in over the line right side. It's Noah Lynn Smith with it, and he'll wrap it around the boards. Pick back up by the Bugs out to center ice. Rhinos control to center logo. They'll dump in, delayed offside. They'll tag up. Hodges out of his net. Will leave it off for Wilson. Wilson off to his right, flips it along the far boards. Now played back into the slot. Wilson feeds it up to center ice. About a minute gone in the second period. Here's the turnover at the blue line. Rhinos in over the line. Trying to feed it to the slot was Hunka. Drops it off. Big drives there. Rebound. Squirts over to the near half wall where it's tracked down by the Bugs. Wrap it around the boards. El Paso forces a turnover. Back of the cage. Sent back up top. High slot. Drive there. Stopped by Hodges. Rebound comes out in front again. Another giveaway off the post that time. Then it's turned aside, and the third chance clear. Goes all the way down. Not going to be enough for icing. That was Neely tracks it down his own blue line. Quickly on the breakout. Rhinos have to tag up. Barely staying on side. And now the second man went offside, but they say it's good. Nonetheless, Rhinos play it out to the blue line. Wolcott wraps it around the boards over to the far side. Hunkin's going to win the foot race in front of John Burnt, then played out to center ice. Picked back up by the Rhinos. It's Gaudette at his own blue line. Flipped off to the near side for Shore. Back for Gaudette. Works below his own goal line. Off to the right of his net. Flips it up in the air. Up to center ice. It's controlled. And over the line is Neely. Knocked off the puck, though. Here's Barrett. Barrett looks off to his right. Feeds it, and that's offside by the Bugs as the far winger that time couldn't hold on. That'll be a whistle with 18:04 left to go in the second, but already a barrage of shots coming from El Paso.
No, and that's a great thing. And, of course, the Bucks keeping this 1-0 score on the board. And, of course, as you look right now, just going back and forth with shots here. And, of course, as you mentioned, that far winger on the outside was Grayson Garrett. He tried to get his other skate on the other side of the blue line, but just couldn't do it. His face-off will now be in front of the Bucks bench.
So we saw the replay there, and I thought Jasser hit the post. There was no signal from the referee, as you typically see when it hits the post, but it looked like for that replay it did. Nonetheless, Pusateri wraps it around the boards, and so if that's the case, Jasser's a few inches away from tying up the game. Here's another great chance for El Paso in front. They've got it right corner. Offensive end. Swung towards the middle. It's Semengo up the far wing. Around the screen of Earhart, and then get knocked down at the blue line. We got a delayed call upcoming. That was Hoagland drawing the penalty into the corner. Semengo's got it behind the cage, picked up by El Paso. And Hoagland there, if you notice that, Duncan, I know it kind of developed quickly, but he skated into the El Paso Rhino, but he draws the interference penalty there.
No, you're right, he did, and he just drew the penalty excellently there. Of course, the Scott Powerline power play will go back to work, Zach. And, you know, back in that first third, we saw the power play look as good as it's been, at least since a few weeks ago against the New Mexico Ice Wolves. The EMS signal, that kind of startled me a little bit.
No, it did a little bit, yeah. That is my least favorite sound on this planet.
That's all right.
Well,
it's an important one. And speaking of an important one here, Mudbugs looks like they're going to, at least.
The end of the corner it goes, right corner. 5-player battle for it. Bugs on their second power play chance. This would be a great time to get a goal to not only get the score, but also tie it up. Here's Gerhardt, high slot, fires one. Simon tried to put it back. It gets flipped up in the air, went all the way up towards the roof. Scramble for it right in front of the crease. Modelski again on top of it, draws a whistle. 19 seconds into the power play, but again, they're getting the pucks to the net on this power play unit. It's a new game plan, and it's working so far.
No, it is working. It is working so far, Zach. And of course, like we've mentioned before, they're throwing shots to the net, and that's the most important thing. Just throwing shots to the net, creating chaos, creating rebounds. Bugs have been doing that excellent so far on this power play, and really throughout this period, if you really want to be honest.
So El Paso's penalty kill sits at 78.9%, and like the Bugs, they're just the inverse of that. They have the league fourth best power play, but one of the worst kills in the league. And of course, the Bugs are the inverse of that as it's worked up. Slid across, right point for Barrett. Back across. Burnt's got it again. At the point, drives one. That got deflected. Over to the wall, it's picked up by Sakrisky. Works up the half wall, leaves it off for Simon. Simon's wrapped it around the end boards, comes near side, up to the blue line. Held in by Paloni, but then stolen away, and here comes the breakaway. Costomo trying to win the foot race, and a good back check by Nandor there that time to turn away the threat that time of Costomo. Now brought back in over the line. Gerhard's got it into the left corner, tries to pitchfork it backwards up along the wall. Sakrisky changes direction in the left corner. Tries to feed it to the middle for Simon. Goes over, sticking out to center ice. Midway through the power play for the Bugs. A couple of chances early. Now Paloni lifts it up for Gerhard. In over the line, right side. Grayson dodges two Rhinos defenders. Still has the puck. Turns it up towards the blue line. Beats it across for Burnt. Left circle. Drives one through the slot. That's taken away. Rhinos try to clear, and they do. Paloni tracks it back down to his own blue line. 35 seconds to go on the power play. 16:07 left in the middle frame. Bugs trail 1-0 as they'll settle it down. Back of Hodges now. Looking for a play on the power play. Here they come up the center of the ice. Drops it back. It's Burnt. Feeds it up the wall. Far side. Now for Semengo off the bench. Streaks down the left wing. Big drive there from Hoagland. Goes wide and all the way down. A collision back of the play causes the net to come loose. So that'll draw a whistle. Face-off coming out to neutral with 9 seconds left to go on the power play.
Yeah, it is. And, of course, what really more can be said, Zach? They've just been throwing shots towards the net, as we've mentioned. And, of course, with 9 seconds left on this Scott Powerline power play, Zach, well, the biggest thing is it wasn't a bad showing from the power play. Of course, it definitely looked better than last week, but of course the biggest thing is, I really can't think of anything else to say. But
now I know I say this about everybody. However, I love watching Nandor play, and he's had some international experience. 5 years of international hockey for Team Hungary. Comes to us by way of the Ontario Hockey Academy, where he had a career-high 26 points a year ago. It's brought in by El Paso, sent towards the net. Hodges paddles it off the side of the cage. Big hit delivered there, and then Semengo gets knocked down away from the play. Up ahead comes Hoagland. In over the line, left side, down to the bottom of the circle. Tried to crash towards the net. Earhart gets it back for a moment, back of the net. Into the right corner it goes. El Paso trying to clear it, and they will do so as they got a successful kill. Bucks now 0 for 2 on the power play. Fed into the slot, right down the middle. And a big stop there for Hodges again. Turns to the side, picked up by Jonah Jasser. They'll flip it off the wall for Duke Earhart. Back for Jasser at center. He's got it. Up the far wall, trying to break it into the zone, but El Paso forces a turnover at the red line. Rhinos gain the zone right side, dropped it off for Wolcott in the slot. His shot there is turned aside again. Along the near half wall, it comes back of the cage, wrapped around the boards. Evan Adams will track it down. Hits the brakes at the hash marks, feeds it back down low. Flipped up the wall again. Intercepted, though, by Laviolette. Laviolette's got it. Right point, 14:40 to go in the second period. Bugs trail by a goal. Pile up there along the wall. Referee comes over to look at it. Puck is still free, trying to play it right in front of the boards there. And a big check delivered. That's a beautiful move by Jasper there. Knocked a man down. Sent back up top. Big drive and a blocker save up into the netting. And they're still mixing it up down there. And now away for the play. There we go. Now that's a crowd over there is loving it.
Yep.
Everybody mixing it up there. But Jasper knocked that player down along the scrum. And that kind of started all this during the play.
No, it did. But it was like you said, Zach, a great move to get the puck free. More importantly, of course, just able to get there free. And I was going to go back to they're holding some more. If you able to listen to the broadcast back in Amarillo when I was going solo there. But more importantly, what matters is puck was able to get out of play. And Tyler Hodgson made a great blocker to send it out of play. So with 14:21 left, got to get something going here. But as the faceoff will come out now to the right of Tyler Hodges. And
And the Bugs got it loose and tried to clear it out of the zone. Ended up with a great scoring chance for El Paso, but Hodge was able to make the stop. Icing is washed out. It was touched at center. Bugs into the offensive end. A turnover. Tried to feed it to Willie on the top of the crease, but the Rhinos able to play it back of their own net for Giblin now. Flips it up the wall, far side. Goes through the skates of Remy. He's battling Smith for it. Into the corner they go. That's a tall height battle over there. And it's played up. Not too many guys can stand as tall with Remy, but Smith is one of them. Now the Rhinos tied up in front of the bench. Tremblay takes a hit to the head, and he's mixing up back of the play. But now up ahead come the Bugs in over the line left side. Knocked off the puck is Simons. Wrapped around the board to the near wall. And trying to deliver the check that time was Willie. He'll go off for a change. Picked up by Zach Wilson at center. Carves through the middle. Off to his left. Tried to feed it for Sakrisky, but it goes wide of his stick. Chase, as you mentioned, loves to turn it on against El Paso. Here's Barrett in the slot. Couldn't corral it cleanly. Still got it to the net. Gerhardt tried to tap back the rebound, but instead it goes all the way down. As it's cleared by El Paso, they'll go off for a change. 13-12 to go. Wholesale changes for the Rhinos. Going down to a knee that time was burnt, but now up ahead. Here's Chase Sakrisky. In over the line. Bottom of the right circle. He snipes it. Chase Sakrisky gets the Bugs on the board and ties it up with a laser to the top shelf.
Oh, Risky just found the bisky and just sniped it right past Michael Medelski. You love to see it. You love to see it. And like I mentioned, it's something about El Paso. The Rhinos, I just don't know what it is. This building, the water, who knows? It just turns Chase Sakrisky into a goal point scoring machine. And you love it, Zach. You gotta love it.
He came down with lethal intentions on that one.
Oh, lethal intentions. No, you're not wrong.
I mean, the way he came over the blue line, and like you said, of course, I've only been here a couple of weeks, but, like, I don't see a fire in his eyes. And even I was down by you as they came out for warm-ups, and Chase is over there hyping everybody up, and I don't know, he's just another player I love to watch. I know I say that about everybody, but nonetheless, out the blue line tied up. Wolf Talby's got it at center. He'll flip it ahead. Bugs have knotted up the game at a 1, 12:45 to go. Middle frame, you love the effort after the events that transpired last week as Wolf Talby will hold it in. Up ahead, but it's stolen away. Platooning with it, he got the first goal for El Paso. Flips it for White, who gets knocked down by Liam Wolf Talby. Liam's been mixing it up tonight. Love to see that as well. Flipped up the wall again. Bugs starting to get their health back, which has always been a big thing as well throughout the year. Battled a lot of injuries this year. Carter McKay, of course, still out with an injury, but he's had some nice moments as well. That's played all the way down. Remy's going to track it down. He's got Nander to his far side. He'll feed it off to him at the right circle. Fed up to the blue line. Now up ahead quickly is Hoagland. Nice stick move around a Rhino defender down to the bottom of the left circle. Fires one. That's turned aside by Medelski. Picked up far corner. It's played by Costomo. Costomo flips it out of the zone. Icing. Yes. As Remy just barely wins the foot race there. Stops time with 11:55. And look at the energy out there now.
All right. You love it. It's almost like you just took almost like you took an energy drink to this Mudbugs team. Of course, I'm a big energy drink connoisseur, but no, more importantly, it's just like it's just a renewed energy. We mentioned a renewed energy back in the first, but even a more renewed energy here in the second as the faceoff will come out to the left of Medelski.
So tied at 1, 11:54 to go. Second period flipped up ahead. Collision there away from the play. Rhinos want a penalty, but they're not going to get one as Semengo got knocked down. Now brought up the other way. Remy with some speed. Look at Remy streaking in there. Yep. That goes away, turned away from though. Poloni gets a stick on it. Flipped up ahead. Shore will bat it down at the red line. Brings it in over the blue line. Hoagland away from the play, mixing it up. But now a giveaway right in front, walking down the slot with the Rhinos. Eventually turned to the near half wall. Backhanded up to the blue line, but not out of the zone. El Paso holds it into the slot. One-time drive there for the blue line is stopped. Hodges tried to glove it, but goes off the edge of his glove and held in. But now cleared on the second chance opportunity. Remy picks it up in the slot, feeds it across for Nandor. Poloni back in the lineup tonight. Love seeing him out there. He'll dump it in. Medelski out to play it back of the net. Almost gave it away, and he has to jump on top of it because Earhart was waiting to put it home. And we remain tied at 1 with 11:02 to go. And my, oh my, that's going to bring us to immediate timeout. We'll take it. I was going to go into a segue there, but nonetheless, we'll take a timeout. Yep. 11:02 to go. Second period, we're tied at 1. Back in a moment at NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com.
Back here midway through period number 2, the Bugs have tied it up. Bugs are finally back at home after a couple of weeks away from George's Pond for Mardi Gras weekend. And that's always a fun time in Shreveport. And Duncan Walker is going to tell you how you can come and join us and be a part of that family.
Thank you, Zach. Of course, family 4-pack ticket sale. We love those, but more importantly, let's tell you what we got going for you. 4 tickets, 4 pregame skate passes, and 4 bags of that delicious George's Pond popcorn, all for $44 for the next 2 weekend games against the Lone Star Brahmas Mardi Gras weekend. Of course, you can use the code FAMILY when purchasing tickets at tickets.georgespond34.com. And of course, if you need more tickets, just call us at 318-636-7094 if you need more tickets. So, yeah. So, Zach, I think a lot of people love that deal. More importantly, we're loving this hockey game right now as the faceoff comes out to the right of Medelski.
Yeah, Sakrisky with the equalizing goal there. Bugs control the faceoff. Into the slot it comes. Now right circle. Tremblay works it up, drops out. Or actually, turn and fire through the slot. Rebound. Simons tried to feed it. Willie calling for it at the blue line, but it's intercepted. Potolny will paddle it out. Up ahead comes the Rhinos down the middle of the ice. It's Berkner. They've got some speed on their lineup as well as it's played down to the far wall. Maybe that's why they got the safety vest out there. The speed they come at. Yeah, man, oh man. Let me tell you. The Rhinos played back out of their own blue line, wrapped around the board. Zach Wilson's going to track it down for the Bugs. The newcomer who's had some solid playing time, and Soupy loves the presence, but he gives it away here. Big drive in front, up into the netting, and out of play. That'll draw a whistle with 10:21 here in period number 2. The Bugs again back at home next weekend against Lone Star for Mardi Gras weekend, and then they head on to the road for 3 straight weeks. Ugh, we don't want that, but nonetheless, the Bugs will be back at home next weekend finally. Again, 7-11 puck drop both Friday, Saturday, Mardi Gras weekend against the first place Lone Star Brahmas. Couple of big games coming up for the Bugs there. Big game right here tonight as well, as the Bugs now being outshot 19-15, but they're clawing their way back on the shot counter as the faceoff immediately goes out of play. It comes back into the D zone for the Bugs with 10-19. So again, big weekend. Want to send a shout out to longtime Mudbugs insider Matt Nelson. I know Duncan found a picture of Matt from many, many years ago in a yearbook the other day. There's a shot that gets turned aside. Gerhardt tracks it down far wall, and Grayson flips it out and stick down at the blue line, but now it's controlled by the Bugs right at center ice. Want to say hi to the Welkers as well, listening back in Alabama this weekend. Of course, minus Duncan, because he's here, and Billy, he's here as well, but the girls, Annie and Tanya, listening back. Here it in the slot. Rhinos try to turn it aside. Now the Bugs get it back. Flipped up ahead for Barrett. Goes off the edge of his stick. Tracked down by the Rhinos once more. It's Porco. He's had a big game. Now a centering feet down the slot. Turned aside by Gerhardt. He's got a far wall. Flips it up ahead for Sakrisky, the recent goal scorer. In over the line again. Poked away from him, but the Bugs have an offensive end. Big collision behind the play. And they get tied up, and the Bugs will get a whistle here with 9:34 as Mitchell Reed behind the play was going after Camden Kaiser that time, and the linesman will step in and separate them with 9:34 left in the second period. Bugs and Rhinos tied at 1 midway through this middle frame on this Friday night in El Paso. Good crowd on hand here at the El Paso County Events Center. They fill it in this place here. Of course, the capacity is not as high as many of the other buildings in the division, but nonetheless, they really get a good crowd going here as the Bugs will have an offensive zone face-off after the whistle. Far side, they'll take it. Tied at 1. Sakrisky, the latest goal scorer. One back to the point. Quick drive there. It's a stop, and we'll do it again. That was just a dress rehearsal. That'll stop time with 9 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this second period. I want to thank all of you for tuning in with us on this late night in Shreveport, out here in Mountain Time. It's going to be a late night for y'all. And I know some of my family who might be listening on the East Coast. It's going to be a really late night for them. Didn't get underway here until 9 Eastern, of course, but now the Rhinos work it out of the zone. 9.5 minutes to go. Griner forces the turnover, then gives it right back. Rhinos walk down the slot. Big stop as Hodges will squeeze the pads together and hang on. And now behind the play, Remy mixing it up there with a Rhino. They tango down in the left corner. Linesmen step in, and Remy's not afraid as well. Remy's got that imposing physical frame, and he would have taken care of that guy.
Oh, no, he definitely would have, but of course that's a hypothetical, but maybe we'll see that a little bit later on. But what matters is, of course, I really can't think of the words. Just a little flabbergasted right now. But the face-off will come out to the right-hand side of Tyler Hodges, and Evan Hoagland will take that face-off. Good stuff for him. Talked with him throughout this road trip, and he's done well.
Now Remy, he's in his third season with the Bugs. Has appeared in all but one game thus far, and those last points. It's been a while. The Lone Star sweep back in mid-November, so it's been a long time since we've seen him record a point, but he's been a consistent force, forcing turnovers and getting pucks to the net. As it's played now by the Rhinos. Into the corner at Shore, wraps it around the end boards, back of the cage. Rhinos have it. Off to Hodges' left. Now it's fed back up to the blue line. Big drive there. Tried to one-time it from the top of the slot, but again, a big stop for Tyler that time. It's sent into the corner. Bugs have a defensive end. Zach Wilson tracks it down. Into the right corner he goes. Drops it off. Nobody's home. It went off the referee. Don't think it would have gotten over to his deep pair anyway, but Poloni now will stick it out to center. Up ahead, tried to get it to Hoagland. Goes off the edge of his stick. Tracked down by the Rhinos against the blue line. It's Laviolette. He'll backhand it up for Hunka. Hunka into the offensive zone. He'll go off for a change. Now the Bugs bring it back up. Semengo down the wing, and he's close to being offside. The linesman said it was good, but it's eventually banked out to center. Up ahead quickly is Turner. Turner down the far wing. Drives one from the circle. Got knocked down as he shot the puck. That one's turned aside. Now we get a whistle here. And I think they had too many men.
I think they did. Of course, now linesman White is going to look over and find somebody to serve the penalty.
Too many men, yeah.
So
I say him touching that from the slot was not a good move.
No, it was not. So looks like we'll find out who will serve that penalty, and it looks like, based on things here, it looks like it'll be number 4 for the Rhinos, and of course that is Jackson Porco. At least, well, no, actually I was wrong. I apologize. Looks like he's going to be serving it with one Raphael Lavalliette. Excuse me. The name Lavalliette always throws me, even with the NHL coach Peter Lavalliette. That always throws me off. But no, it's Lavalliette serving the too many men penalty. And of course, Mudbugs go back to work on the Scott Powerline power play, which has been having a better effort than they were last week in Corpus. Now the question is, can they turn it on even further and get it past one Michael Medelski?
And, you know, we almost got to the face-off without one of us saying it, so I'm going to break the streak here. Crucial power play. You got the equalizing goal. Now you got to go get the lead. High slot. Nice move by Griner. Lost the puck, though. Squirted over to the wall, and El Paso will flip it up as we had to almost duck for cover there. We're,
just a little.
As we mentioned, right on top of the penalty boxes here. We're only probably, 5 feet or so above the top of the glass.
Something like that. We'll go with that.
Another 15 feet or so above the ice. It's a unique vantage point here nonetheless, but brings me back to my baseball days, having to dodge foul balls as Griner brings it in, drops it off for Simon. Right point, walks into the slot, now off to his left, leaves it off at the circle. Back up top, it's Grayson. Grayson fires one, block it away, play down with a high stick. Referee says no. Gerhard tries to bank it into the corner. He's got it, battling 2 Rhinos. Grayson still has the puck, holds it at the hash mark, looks for a play. He's got no open skating lanes or passing lanes. Now feed it up top for Griner. Toes the line, leaves it back off for Grayson. Top of the right circle, he'll go up to the blue line. Top of the slot now, looks for a shot. Tried to feed it over for Semengo, but it's turned aside and cleared down. Midway through the penalty kill for El Paso with 7 minutes to go in period number 2. We're tied at 1. Chase Sakrisky got the equalizing goal early in the second period, came into the zone, and I knew, as I mentioned a little bit earlier during the media timeout, Duncan, I knew he was coming in and scoring that goal as soon as he got across the blue line. Bugs' 4-player entry is denied, and El Paso quickly the other way on the kill, shorthanded, looking for a play. Jaster wins the foot race against his number 15 counterpart, Gentilini, but eventually El Paso works it back to their own zone. It's Gaudette up the near wing. He'll flip it off the very top of the boards and actually goes into the bench. And that'll draw a whistle with 6.5 to go in the period and 20 seconds left on the power play for the Bugs.
Yes, it will, Zach. And, of course, the power play, it's been, well, right now, at least on this effort, on this attempt, still having that, good showing. But it's true, Zach. It's crucial. And just turn it up, turn that amp up to 11 in terms of the power play effort and get it past Michael Medelski. Of course, Rhinos were able to get a little bit of a personnel change, and Joe Semango will take the face-off at the face-off will come out to the left side of one Michael Medelski. So see where things lead there.
Off the draw, it's controlled by Adams, tried to feed. I thought Evan was going to one-time that. Back up top again, Evan to Evan, and Hoagland fires one. Just wide of that, held in by Adams. Nice play to pinch it, and then he flips it. Tried to feed it to Duke, and he goes into the bench, and I think Smitty had to jump out of the way of that one. That'll draw a stoppage with 6:17, and with 7 seconds left. They're actually going to keep the face-off in the zone. I thought that went directly off of the Bugs, but linesman disagrees. I'll take it.
Now I will too. Of course, now the last vestiges of this power play unit discussing what the plan is, and of course, the more important thing is, I think that was Soupy who had to get out of the way of that one. I could be wrong, no, but now Vinny DiOlio will take the face-off to the left of Medelski.
You know, if any of you did not listen to the pregame interview I did with them, go back and listen. It is hilarious. We talked about the new TikTok trend of looking back 10 years, and Soupy's like, I don't remember, and of course Smitty had to quip up from the background. He's too old to remember. So there you go. That's our two coaches on display. That's how they are 100% of the time. As the Bugs try to work it out of the zone, Tremblay goes over the edge of his stick, held in by Wolcott, feeds it into the slot. Backhanded drive, hit the trailer, but just turned aside by Hodges. Pick back up. Rhinos have it after the successful kill, so the Bugs now 0 for 3 on a man advantage. Flipped over, left point Neely, sent it down low to the bottom of the left circle. Looking for a play, and a big drive, and a rebound, they score. It's another cheap rebound, and it goes in for Tommy Shore, and the Rhinos retake the lead. It's 2-1.
Yeah, just a cheap rebound effort there from Tommy Shore, and well, on the unfortunate side of things, like I said, Zach, goals count no matter how you score them, whether you score them nicely, cleanly, dirty, however it matters. If it crosses the red line down there in the net and the ref said it's good, well, it goes on the board. And of course, now as we look here on the big board right here, Shore was able to just, well, it looks like it went past him now as we see it from this angle of things.
She goes off a bug, it looks like.
I was going to say it looked like it scored it out of the pads of Tyler Hodges there, but what it comes down to result-wise is that the Rhinos have a 2-1 lead over the Bugs. But biggest thing is 5:36. Got to find something. Got to find a response back.
That is very uncharacteristic of Tyler Hodges. That's both goals now have been goals he would want back, and again, this is not something we've seen for him so far this year. He's got a .910 save percentage, and the cheap rebounds is not something we've seen either.
Wow.
So Bucks got to find a way to come back now, trailing 2-1. They came back once before, and this has been a series of comebacks all season long. Soupy talked about it, blew 4 straight leads in that overtime loss last time we came to El Paso. Now the Bugs have to play from behind. Glove down to center by Burt. Has it in his skates, now goes to his stick. Nice move off to the right, 4-player entry, feeds it off for Liam Wolf-Dalby. He whiffs on his shot. He sent it back up top for Jonah Jasser. At the blue line, fires through traffic, rebound, gets turned aside. Griner's got it, flips it up top. Wilson holds it in, far point, down low into the corner for Griner, takes a check, delivered the check back as they tangle away from the play. Now up ahead, it's a bounce. Hodges will stay in his crease. Breakaway shot, big drive, and a save by Tyler. He made up for that rebound on that one right there.
That was an excellent rebound. Well, I say rebound, but it was an excellent Stonewall effort.
That's a high stick. Yep, there's the call. Referee's got his arm up, and Jasser's going to draw the penalty. He tried to, or that was for El Paso. That was Murray tried to pitchfork it, and he instead pitchforked Jonah's head, and that draws the penalty. So that's a hard-earned penalty, and we'll see if it's 2 or 4 before we head off to this media timeout. Just 2 minutes. So that'll be a power play upcoming. Big one for the Bugs on the other side on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com.
Just under 5 minutes to play here in period number 2, 4:43 exactly. Bugs going back to the power play as Brendan Murray gets called for the high stick on Jonah Jasser. And Jonah is playing through an injury, doesn't need any more. So now the Bugs back on the man advantage. 0 for 3 thus far today. This is a big one here. Trying to claw their way back into it and tie it up once again. They already did a one. Chase Sakrisky got the goal early in the second. And here we go. They need another one. Offensive zone face-off to the right of Medelski. Simons is in to take it now for the Bugs. He wins it back to the blue line. Gerhard has it for Burnt. Burnt slides it back across for Grayson. Grayson drive. That goes off the back of the net. Wrapped around the boards again. Rhinos try to clear. They give it away right in front. Hoagland's got it tied up in his skates. Bugs trying to feed it towards the net. Now into the right corner it goes. Back of the cage, Simons with the butt of his stick sends it up top. Grayson's got it. Settles it left point. He's got it back from John Burnt. Grayson looks for a play, wraps it around the end boards. Simons wraps it around. Picked up by Griner that time. Tried to get it to the blue line, but it's banked out. Smith tried to go around John Burnt all the way down. 4 minutes to go in the second period. Minute 22 to go on the Bugs power play here. Trying to break the power play drought. In over the line they come. Looking for it. Drops it off for Jonah Jasser. Now fed across. Burnt streaks into the middle. Earhart from a knee. He scores.
What an excellent one-knee effort from Duke, Earhart, and, well, Zach, I believe our old friend Chet Yoder, as he would say, he dropped the nuke from one knee, and what matters, more importantly, well, two things that matter. One, Bugs got a power play goal on the Scott Powerline power play, and also, this hockey game's tied up, brother.
You know, I wish we had a statistician working for us here that could look at the last time the Bugs scored a power play goal, because it is well into the archives.
Well, it has to be against New Mexico with, remind me, 3 to 4 power play goals?
They did have 3 in that third period.
So,
but before that.
Oh, before that. Oh, yeah.
It's been a while. But nonetheless, the power play breaks out of it. It's 2-2 now. Bugs have tied it up again. Now they got to hold on to it and try to get the go-ahead goal. Wrapped around the boards. Earhart will track it down. Good to see him playing well. Back in the lineup after missing a couple of games. Wrapped around to the left corner. Bugs trying to work out of the zone, and El Paso pinches to hold it in. Tied up along the left hash mark. Now Duke's got it again. Back of the cage. Works off to his left. Flips it up the far wall. Tried to headman it up to the blue line for Hoagland. Thrown away by El Paso. Rhinos get it back. At center, it's gloved down by Semengo. Semengo from the left circle is batted up into the netting and out of play. That draws a whistle with 3:18 left in the second period. And as we mentioned a little bit earlier on, the Bugs, to start off the game, are getting outshot 10-1. Now the shots are 22-19, I believe. I was getting ready to tell the shots, and the video board here took the shots away for a sponsor activation. So, go 22-19, and we'll update that as we need to. Nonetheless, face-off here in the offensive end for the Bugs. To the right side as Pusateri looks to the bench, waiting for the play from head coach Jason Supi-Campo as he tries to quarterback everybody around. Gerhard will take the draw right side. Offensive end for the Bugs. 3:18 to go, trying to get the go-ahead goal for the first time. They win the face-off, but immediately it's played out for Nolan Smith. Barrett with a good back check. Forces the puck away and then takes a slash. Now brought in for Gerhard. Down the slot for Sakrisky. Lost it into the corner. Rebound for Gerhard. Fires it, and Medelski squeezes the pads together to hang on for another whistle with 3:05 left to go in period number 2 here in El Paso. Bugs and Rhinos tied at 2. Sakrisky and Earhart have both equalized the game. Let's remind you that Mudbugs Hockey is brought to you by our friends at Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice of the best pizza in town, and by Coors Light, made to chill. Of course, as always, their second period brought to you by DeFata and Associates. There we go, face off, far side, off to Medelski's right. Offensive end, Wolf Talby in to take it, but El Paso wins it. Out to center it comes. In a foot race with Owen Case was Nolan Smith. Smith won the battle, but then lost the puck because he blew a tire in the right corner. And the Bugs will play it out. Up ahead the near wing. Down the middle, it's Griner. Leaves it off to his left for Jasser. Tried to feed it back for Griner. It's a kick save by Medelski as it squirted to his pads. Now played up along the near wall. El Paso trying to clear the defensive end. Case will skate it after it, throwing the body around. Tied up along the wall. Griner comes in to help. Sends a cross-check and missed. Now he gets cross-checked by into play. Crowd wants a penalty call as everything's held up there. That was mutual combat at best as Wolf Talby in the left. He gets cross-checked. There's no call. Wants one. Probably should have gotten one. Nonetheless, Rhinos break it out. 2:17 to go. Physicality picking up late in the second period. The Bugs are just 2 shots shy of tying up the shot counter as this one is up into the netting and out of play. Draws a whistle just outside of the 2-minute warning with 2:10 to go in the second. Want to again thank everybody for tuning in with us here on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network. Getting a little late out there for all of our listeners. Want to say hi to my dad watching back on the East Coast. I know it's late for him. It's very late for my dad watching in D.C., Duncan, but we're almost to the 11 o'clock hour there on the East Coast.
Woo. That's time zones are fun, and of course, it's 11 o'clock as Bugs are able to at least get a stick on their power play. My mind was elsewhere. Face off, sorry.
Samango dodges the check from Porco. He'll fire it into the zone, right corner, back of the net. Hoagland wins the foot race, tied up along the wall, though. Back of the cage, it's played. Minute 52 and rolling here in the second period. We're tied at 2. Zakriski and Earhart, the goal scorers. Waiting for it is Samango trying to poke it free. Duke Earhart's also in there. Wraps it around the boards, up to the point. Out to center. Burnt takes a check and goes down. Gets tied up with Wolcott. A giveaway right in front, and Hodges will glove this down, and he'll hang on for a whistle to stop time with 94 ticks of the clock left here in the second.
No, and it's like I mentioned, Zach. That puck just loves the glove of Tyler Hodges like a magnet. I know I already used that analogy, but it's true, though. Like, on that shot, and on several others, actually, just able to just snatch it. Like you snatch somebody's wig there.
So we have the famed beer pyramid here.
Yeah.
There's 2 going on right now. There's one that was 6 rows high. Now it's only 4.
Yeah.
Then I got the little baby one off to the left. So they love doing that down there. The 2 bars on either end here at the El Paso County Event Center. Into the bottom of the left circle. Shot there is turned aside by Hodges. Works over to the near wall where it's picked up by Barrett. Barrett down the right wing. Gains the zone. Fires it. It got tipped up into the netting, and Barrett mixing it up down there in the corner as he's got staring him down for the Rhinos is Gentilini that time, but the linesman step in quickly, and that'll hold things off for a minute and 18 seconds here in a tie game.
And Gentilini was yapping at him, but of course, you mentioned that Coach Soupy wanted to see some fire, see some effort out of Ryan Barrett since returning to this Mudbugs lineup. And I think there was a little bit of that fire there from Ryan Barrett. Of course, Barrett is from Nashville, Tennessee. And of course, like we mentioned last week, I say revitalization of the game in the South, but really just the expansion of the game in the South gives guys like Ryan Barrett and, of course, many other Southern-born players an opportunity, though.
Wolf Talby to take the ozone draw, but the Rhinos control. They'll wrap it around the end board to the far wall, all the way out to center ice. Now it's flipped ahead. Pusateri wrapped it around the boards, up the near wing, tried to feed it out, played down in the slot, into the corner. It's fed for Remy again. He's tied up along the wall before he got to the puck. There's the cross-check delivered there, and they'll mix it up again. Remy gets knocked down to his knee in the corner. He still plays it forward, back of the cage for Wilson, but now we got a delayed call up here. And Remy, who got cross-checked initially, is going to go to the box for retaliating with 53 seconds left. And you know what they always say, it's not the one who does, it's always the one who retaliates who gets caught with the penalty.
That is true, and there's a famous line from Shorzy that also echoes that.
As now Jasser jumps in there. We'll get back to that thought in a moment. Jonah sticking up for his teammate, and you love to see Jonah Jasser. He's just one of those players that's always going to stick up for his guys. As there you see Remy gets knocked. He actually gets hit in the head before he delivers the cross-check back, but the Bugs are going to be short-handed here.
Yeah, no, the Bugs are going to go on this first-choice personnel penalty kill. Of course, like I mentioned, we see on the big board here, Remy gets the shot in first, and then, of course, like I mentioned, there's a famous line from Shorzy that talks about something, call it retaliation. Of course, if you want to watch that clip from Shorzy, well, if there are any kids out there, I'd watch it with your parents. Let's just put it like that. But nonetheless, Remy will go into the box 2 minutes on the on the first choice personnel penalty kill. Actually, right down below us, right down here. So always a fun time when you're either right below a bench or right below a penalty box, because you get to see a lot of things that some broadcasters, when they're high up, they don't see that often. But that's just my opinion.
That is true. And you mentioned Shorzy. One of my favorite scenes is when he's refereeing. I love that. As a referee myself, and I would love to quote it, but I don't think there'd be very many people happy if I quoted that. So we'll leave that for the coaches show that debuts next week. Stay tuned to our socials for that information, and that's offside. Good catch by the linesman there. And then Reed takes a high stick to the back of his head after the whistle, and he didn't like that. He sends a slash back. He's going to look at the referee like, huh, I got hit.
Yeah, I know. Nice little Ohio love tap there. Of course, Mitchell Reed from Vandalia, Ohio. Of course, that's funny. I asked him how to pronounce it, Vandalia or Vandalia. Yeah, I just said, I'm just going to leave it Vandalia. And he's like, that's all right. But just a little Ohio love tap there as Mitchell Reed looks like he'll stay out there, and the face-off will go on to the other side of the Rhinos bench then.
Teammates in 18AA hockey with Owen Case. They both had solid seasons in their final year before coming on over to the Bugs. In the corner it goes. Reed gets revenge as he shoves a man off the puck along the far wall. 28 seconds to go. Bugs shorthanded. Late second period. Set near point. Big drive. Shot score. I think it was tipped on the way in by the man waiting on the doorstep that time. It's Gentilini. And the Rhinos, for the third straight time this game, are back out in front.
No, you're right. And I think as we're going to look at the big board here, but even in the handshake line, or the fist bump line, it looks like it'll be Camden Kaiser there getting credit. Well, Zach, third period shaping up to be a fun one regardless of how you lay it out. But as for the play that just developed, so as we see here on the big board, so the Rhinos defenseman there was able to find score there, and then it bounced off of Kaiser's stick there. Camden Kaiser's stick there, just waiting on the left pad side of Tyler Hodges there. Although he might have been in front, but nonetheless, what the more important thing is that it's 3-2 in favor of the Rhinos off that power play goal. And well, Zach, like I said, third period shaping up to be a fun one, and I think regardless of your affiliation, I think they'd have to agree, but.
So Kaiser extends his team goals lead now to 20. It's 35 points in total. A face-off will do it again. They'll throw the Rhinos center out. And now Jasser is jawing it away at the center circle with Murray. And the Bugs have been down by a goal twice in this game. Let's see if they can do it a third time. Along the far wall, flipped into the blue line. Case clubs it down, takes a check. And a hand pass is called on El Paso. So that'll stop time with 16.8 seconds. Actually, they'll call it a hand pass on the Bugs. And Owen Case discussing things with the referee over there.
So it looks like it's going to go into the Bugs zone here. Be off to the left of Tyler Hodges.
16.8 seconds to go, second period. Rhinos again. Potolny, Shore, and Kaiser, the goal scorers for them. They had a 1-0 lead. There's a big drive. Stop there. Wolf Talby out of the zone. Up ahead for Griner. One last rush. 10 seconds to go. Griner in over the line. Feeds it off for Case. Case tries to drive one. Whiffed on it. Gets it back. Fires it off the side of the net. And it's stopped and covered with 2.5 seconds left. But again, you love to see this fight for the Bugs. The face of adversity here tonight. And they've stood tall to the task every time. They just got to find a way to get that equalizer and then take their first lead in the third period.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Zach. You know, it's been a back and forth game, and 2.5 seconds, yeah. Well, you'd like to think you just throw it right on net, create a chance to create chaos, but I think, at least in my opinion, if nothing else, it's just going to be held here as we go into the third period. But we'll find out here shortly.
We need to get a quick shot, but it's going to be tied up off the draw, and that's going to do it as Jasser gets his stick held. But that'll do it for the second 20 minutes here tonight. It's still a lead for El Paso. 3-2 the score as they get the late goal from Hampton Kaiser, his 20th of the season, to retake the lead. Now, Duncan, we 2/3 of the way home here tonight. Bugs have had a good effort. They're clawing their way back on the shot counter. Yep. They've had the life at times, but they're back down a goal.
No, you're right. They're back down a goal, but as we've seen in these past 40 minutes, finding a way, finding an effort just to claw it back each and every time. And more importantly, I think the word going into the dressing room from Jason Tupi Campbell and Brett Smith is just, again, create chances, create chaos, and just get it home, get it through. And, well, yeah, that's really all I can say, Zach.
Yeah, got to stick to the game plan. It's working. But the Bugs find themselves down a goal, 3-2, as we head into intermission number 2. Back in a moment from the Sun City here at El Paso on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be. Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Second intermission report delivered to you by Sonic Drive-In. This is how we Sonic. It was 4 second period goals. 2 for the Bugs, 2 for El Paso. They retake their lead 3-2 with a late goal from Camden Kaiser, Chase Sakrisky, and Duke Earhart. The goal scorers for the Bugs as they try to claw their way back on the shot column. Now only down by 4, 25-21 into the second intermission here in El Paso on this Friday night. Again, the Bugs are back at home next weekend for Mardi Gras weekend against the Lone Star Brahmas. The first place Brahmas, always a tough test. Need to see you out there at George's Pond. And as always, if you're playing a group outing, ask about our group rates for future home games, including those games next weekend. Groups of 10 or more get tickets for just $10 each. Call 318-636-7094 to book your group today. And come out and join us for Mardi Gras weekend. Specialty jerseys, all kinds of special promotions going on as well. We had some fun intermission videos filmed during the week, earlier this week with the players with some fun facts about Louisiana and some king cake contests. So be sure to join us out there at George's Pond next weekend as we face off against the Lone Star Brahms. And, of course, you're going to want to come to that game because we'll be on the road for 3 weeks after that. So that'll be your only chance to see the Bugs at home for the next couple of weeks. So be sure to do that. And, of course, you're going to get your family 4-pack for $44.
Oh,
4
right.
tickets, 4 pregame skate passes, and 4 boxes of popcorn. You can use the code FAMILY when ordering your tickets and come out and join us. So specialty jerseys, Duncan. I know Gordo doesn't love the intricacies on the inside, but they look pretty sharp. They look good.
No, I think they do too. And
Wow.
sorry, I think they do too. I think they look great. And honestly, I was talking with Nandor Poloni, and part of the
When fans see those players,
sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, the fun intricacies of technology. Anyways, I was talking with Nandor Poloni as part of this Sonic Drive-In second intermission show, and he was telling me how he likes the intricacies. So it's kind of a yin and yang in terms of what the boys like about the jerseys. But again, my opinion, I like the jerseys. They're easy to read, fun design, but that's just me in my opinion. So
Now, before we take a timeout and head for the world of sports, let's take a look back at our second period highlights. 2 goals for the Bugs. They tied it up both times, Duncan. The first one, a rifle of a shot from the man with the fire in his eyes tonight,
Yep.
Chase Sakrisky. Of course, technology is going to have fun with us again here. We're trying to get the highlights going for you, but well, here's what we'll do. We'll take a timeout,
Yep.
and then we'll work on this, and we'll have the highlights on the other side. Chase Sakrisky and Duke Earhart's goals coming up after the break on the second intermission show, driven by Sonic.
Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Second intermission report delivered to you by Sonic Drive-In. This is Howie Sonic. Now we're going to attempt to play the technology game again. So 2 goals in that period. First one from Chase Sakrisky. He, as you mentioned multiple times today, Duncan had the fire in his eyes. And, well, he came in across the line, as I called it, with lethal intentions. He snipes it. Chase Sakrisky gets the Bugs on the board and ties it up with a laser to the top shelf.
Oh, Risky just found the biscuit and just sniped it right past Michael Medelski. You love to see it. You love to see it. Like I mentioned, it's something about El Paso. The Rhinos, I just don't know what it is. This building, the water, who knows? It just turns Chase Sakrisky into a goal-scoring machine. You love it, Zach. Gotta love it.
He came down with lethal intention.
No, with lethal intention. Yeah, cut off right before my bad, brother. No, but he did come down with lethal intention. And he came down right on this right side in front of us. Just streaked it right past Michael Medelski.
It was beautiful.
No, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And, of course, the second goal was a bit interesting. Of course, it came from one Duke Earhart, who, fun fact, by the way, his name is David. His first name is David Earhart. Everybody knows him as Duke, but his actual birth-given full name is David Earhart. So.
You know, if his parents are watching, I'm sorry, but Duke's fun. So
what?
I said Duke is fun.
No, Duke
so,
is.
No offense to his parents who named him David. If they're watching, listening, whatever. But Duke is fun. I like Duke. But he had that goal coming back in the lineup, and well, here's how that one sounded. Power play drought. Then over the line they come. Looking for it. Dropped it off to Jonah Jasser. Now fed across. Burke streaks into the middle. Earhart from a knee. He scores.
What an excellent one-knee effort from Duke Earhart. And, well, Matt, I believe our old friend Chet Yoder, as he would say, he dropped the nuke from one knee. And what matters, more importantly, well, 2 things that matter. One, Bucks got a power play goal. And he's got power play. And also, this hockey game's tied up, brother.
You know, I wish. By the way, that goal for Duke was his first since he dropped the nuke in the shootout.
No, you're right. It was. I honestly had completely thought about that. I'm like, when was the last time he was able to tickle the twine, if you will? But well, it was right there, and it was an interesting effort. But Duke Earhart was able to come up with it off of a knee and just send it right past Michael Medelski. That tied things up.
So we've been talking about Chase lighting it up when he plays El Paso. Duke now has 4 goals against the Rhinos. He had 3 when we played him at home, and now he's got 1 here tonight. So he gets it going against the Rhinos as well. And, you know, we talked about it with Soupy pregame. 10-3 record at home for El Paso. Of course, we came away with the weekend split last time. There's just something about the way these Mudbugs love playing against the Rhinos.
No, you're right. Of course, in the last few games, of course, you mentioned the one back in George's Pond/Hirsch Coliseum, of course. 4-3 on the Saturday night game, of course, 6-3 in favor of the Rhinos. But no, you mentioned it's just back and forth, goal scoring wise, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth some more between these 2 teams. And just love. It just seems like the Rhinos are one of those opponents that just get the lamps going in, of course, here at the El Paso County Event Center, but also George's Pond/Hirsch Coliseum, Zach.
Absolutely. Back and forth it's been, and back and forth we expect it to continue. We'll take a timeout. Duncan Welker will sit down with Nandor Poloni on the other side of the break on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com. Welcome back into the Sonic Drive-In second intermission show delivered to you by our friends at Sonic Drive-In. Of course, Sonic Drive-In, this is Howie Sonic. Now joining me here is Mudbugs defensive number 17, Nandor Poloni. Nandor, welcome back in.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been a minute since we last talked. It's been a minute. So, Nandor, of course, tonight we come in against these El Paso Rhinos who, last time we were in El Paso here at the El Paso County Event Center, we took the split series. Of course, we won on that Friday night and then fortunately lost on that overtime game on that Saturday night. But that was back in December. And, of course, we come off the Corpus Christi Ice Race series where, well, let's just not talk about that for now. So, moving along here. Nandor, firstly, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Doing amazing.
Good. You doing amazing?
Yeah.
Good. Anything exciting going on in the world of Nandor Poloni? Well, outside of tonight, obviously.
Yeah, everything's good. Got to El Paso, safe and sound.
Good. Good. And speaking of getting here at El Paso, really just getting anywhere here on the road, what's some of the things you do on the road? Well, besides, sleep, obviously, especially here in El Paso, or going to El Paso, rather, where it's a long distance. What's some of the stuff you do on the bus?
Well, I just like talking with the boys for a bit, and then if we travel at night, just go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm about to say anything, because I know back in the old days, of course, my dad will tell you that. Well, my dad and the coaching staff will tell you that, but they'll tell you card games were a big thing. You guys do anything like that, or?
Nothing really. We just talk about stuff. Like, it's amazing to talk with the boys on the bus.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of an underrated thing. I think a lot of people are just figuring out finally. You talk amongst the boys, you get chemistry. But
yeah.
So, Nandor, like I mentioned, we come into tonight here against the El Paso Rhinos for this 2-game weekend series. And what's said about this El Paso team that may have been different or is different than the last time we saw them here back in December?
We just talked about how they're a fast and heavy team. They can score goals and they can utilize their PP and stuff. So we gotta stay disciplined and just bury our chances, win the small battles at the boards and stuff. The scrum battles, very important, and just win the dirty parts of the game, and then we'll win the game.
I know, and that's an underrated aspect of the game. And I mentioned this on the broadcast last weekend. You know what I love about goals in hockey in general? Doesn't matter how they're scored, clean, dirty. Clean and dirty at the same time. That's the beauty part. And this might be a weird way to ask this, but what's your favorite way to score? I know it's weird. I just a wrist shot, slap shot, snap shot, penalty shot, etc., etc.
Well, probably a wrist shot would be my go-to, but it doesn't really matter how you score a goal.
Yeah, I know.
At the end of the day, it's still worth one.
Yeah, I know exactly. As long as it crosses past the red line, that's all that matters. Yeah, I said that on the broadcast too, but moving along here, Nandor, at least from the hockey side of things for now, Nandor, it is, I say almost, it is the start of Mardi Gras season here in Louisiana and really across the United States, the Carnival season everywhere else, and of course I'm looking forward to Fat Tuesday because, well, Nandor, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a big food guy, but I think we've talked about that before. So, Nandor, let me ask you something. What do you think of the new Mardi Gras jerseys we have for the games against Lone Star next week? back at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
I like them. They're nice. We tried them all with the boys and took some pictures in them. I think they're nice. It's going to be good.
Yeah, no, I think they're nice too. And I was talking with Gordon Guerrero last intermission, and he was telling me how the logos and stuff on the inside, that's not his favorite. He's more of like just a clean design on the back. Is that how you are, or do you like the logos on the inside?
I like them, to be honest. It's an added detail, which is nice.
No, it's a detailed thing. Of course, if I had to say anything about jersey opinions, well, we'd be here for all night. But moving along, Nando. Speaking of Mardi Gras, do you guys celebrate Mardi Gras, or really the Carnival season there in Hungary?
Probably just one day, 8th of February. Like the kids dress up and stuff, but other than that, not really. It's not a big thing.
Nice. That's okay. So it's not a. So is it kind of like just that one day on Fat Tuesday, kind of? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So Fat Tuesday, Shrove Tuesday, whatever you want to call it. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people really only celebrate that one day. And well, my opinion, Nandor, I think the people who only celebrate that one day, at least here in the United States, they miss out on the whole long season. Of course, some of the parades that come to mind are, of course, the Crew of Gemini back home in Shreveport. Of course, the stuff on Bourbon Street there in New Orleans, and of course, as well as the Highlands Parade. That's one of the parades that kind of ends it here in Shreveport. So, Nandor, have you ever tried king cake?
No, I haven't.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't tried king cake?
Yeah, mine needs to though.
Oh, I'm about to say you really should. I think everybody here should. Everybody listening here should. Of course, I think one of the best places to get it is one of our newest corporate partners, Louder Baking Company, back there in Shreveport. Of course, they delivered some king cakes to us a couple weeks ago, actually, as part of the Wednesday sweepstake lunch that we had a couple weeks ago. Those king cakes came from Louder Baking Company. Of course, thank you to them, as well as Doc's Sandwich Shop. They're the newest corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Now, Nandor, I'm going to ask you one last thing, then I'm going to let you get going here. Nandor, what's one of the main things, and I think I've asked you this kind of in passing, but I'm going to ask you this here on the air. What's one of the things that you want to see from this Mudbugs team? Keep the intensity theme that we've talked about before. Keep the intensity theme, but also leave the inconsistency theme back in 2025. We've seen flashes of it staying back in 2025, but obviously, Corpus, that was fun. But what are two of the things we can keep, if that makes sense?
I think the most important thing is supporting each other as a team. Just being around the boys and supporting each other is I think it can win any game in the world if we just work together and stuff like that. And the next one would probably be, I would say, consistency. It's the most important because every weekend we have games.
Yeah.
We need to stay consistent.
No, that's the main thing, just keeping that consistent theme. Well, Nandor, thank you for joining us here on the Sonic Drive-In Second Intermission Show. Always good to talk to you, buddy. And of course, say hello to your folks for me.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem, buddy. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back here on the Sonic Drive-In Second Intermission Show. You're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network. We'll be back in a moment. Hey, Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke-flavored sausage and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be. Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills, they've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
Alrighty, the teams have hit the ice once again. We're about to start period number 3 here in El Paso. Bugs trail 3-2. They've tied it up twice. Now they have to come from behind once again here against the Rhinos. Bugs have honestly at times and for a large majority of this game have looked better than the Rhinos, but currently find themselves on the lighter side of the scoreboard. Platuni got the first goal for the Rhinos. That came midway through period number 1. Bugs scored their first goal early in the second period. Chase Sakrisky getting on the board. And then Shore followed it up a few moments later for the Rhinos to retake the 2-1 lead. And then Duke Earhart, his first goal since Duke drops to Duke back against the Rhinos last time at home, brings it 2-2. And then Camden Kaiser in the final 2 minutes of that second period gave the Rhinos their current 3-2 lead. We're back to action. Duncan Welker down helping his dad Billy, the equipment manager for the Mudbugs. So while the flying solo here for the first couple of minutes of this third period as the Bugs have to clean the locker room out. We got an injured Rhino behind the play. That's going to draw a whistle, and Jasser didn't hear it. He had a breakaway, and now Burnt's not happy because he got an injured player. And now Jasser, he drops the gloves and throws a punch away of a Rhino. Jonah getting mixing up there. He had a breakaway, got slashed from behind after the whistle. He took exception to that and started laying body blows on top of 9 in orange. It's Gage Giblin, the 5'10 forward, and Jonah was getting all over him before the linesman stepped in. Referee blew the play dead with Jasser on a breakaway. Bugs aren't too happy about that. And Hunter Robinson, the trainer for the Bugs, as well as the trainer for El Paso, tending to the injured Rhino behind the play. We'll see who that is as soon as we get a chance to. So Jasser's going to go sit, standing up for himself, dropping the gloves. Of course, he should have had a breakaway chance to score on, but nonetheless, 3-2 remains the score. 19:43 left in the second, or in the third rather. Bugs trail 3-2. We'll get the call from the referee here. So we'll check the call here. Jason Campbell and Brett Smith, the two coaches for the Bugs, looking kind of upset over here as Remy talks it over with his fellow captain across the aisle. That's Camden Kaiser for the Rhinos. Remy and Camden behind the referees waiting their decision here as the referee talks with the two linesmen on that play. 3-2 the score. Rhinos on top. 19:43 left to go in the third here in El Paso. Things are slowing down to a halt now as the referees talk it over. And as they do so, and while the injured player is tended to, we'll take a timeout. Back in a moment. This is Mudbugs Hockey on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata and Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata and Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case, or visit them online at defatapi.com. Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker. Down Home Meats is a proud corporate partner of your Shreveport Mudbugs. Whether you're grilling outdoors looking for a hearty or flavorful sausage for breakfast, a gumbo platter, or anything else, Down Home Meats has the perfect sausage for all occasion. Once again, that's Down Home Meats in the Stonewall, Louisiana area, and available at all major grocery stores. Down Home Meats, the perfect old school smoke flavored sausage, and doing old school sausage the way it was meant to be.
Back here in El Paso, 19:43 left to go in the third period. Scary sight here as there's a Rhino still being tended to, laying on his back now just inside the Bugs' defensive end. Didn't quite see what happened. Looked like he collided away from the play, and he's still laying out on the ice. Hunter Robinson, our athletic trainer, tending to him there. They'll bring our emergency services out here on the ice. So scary sight here in El Paso to start the third period. Bugs trail 3-2. 17 seconds in. Jonah Jasser is in the box. He's been given 2 minutes on the board, so the Rhinos will have a power play on the other side of the break. And Coaches on both teams trying to corral their guys here and get everybody focused on the health of the injured Rhino. Still unable to tell who it is. We'll have that for you as soon as we can. Again, the Mudbugs back at home next weekend. Mardi Gras weekend against the Lone Star Brahmas. First place battle there. Going to be a big one, and going to need everybody to come on out to George's Pond. You can get your tickets now on mudbugshockey.com, or as always by calling the office 318-636-7094. There's also group rates available for 10 or more. Tickets $10 each. And of course, as always, head to our socials for the family 4-pack. $44, 4 tickets, 4 pregame skate passes, and 4 boxes of popcorn as well. Again, you can use the code FAMILY when purchasing tickets. Looks like the injured Rhino being helped off now is Daigo Hota, the 6'0 defenseman from Japan. The Rhinos stand around him and trying to coordinate with emergency services here to help out Mr. Hota down there. Hope he has a quick recovery here. A scary sight to start the third period. Bugs and Rhinos, close battle as we've seen yet again. Soda's being carted off to the applause of the crowd here at the El Paso County Event Center. He'll be up off the ice. Liam Wolf-Talby, by the way, is still in a not-so-friendly discussion with the linesman here over something that occurred. I don't know if it was a whistle on the breakaway or not. So it will be a man advantage for El Paso. The Rhinos thus far have only had 2 chances, and they're 0 for 2 thus far, just like the Bugs are. Actually, they're 0 for 3 nonetheless at this point. Shots 25-21 in favor of El Paso. Hota being helped off the ice there. They'll open the Zamboni door for EMS to come take care of him. Again, hope for a speedy recovery for him.
Penalty on the El Paso Rhinos for 18, Nolan Smith. A 2-minute penalty for roughing.
So Smith gets called for roughing.
Number 15, Jonah Jasser. A 4-minute double minor for roughing.
And then Jasser gets a double minor for roughing, so it'll be a power play. 2 minutes on the board on Jonah Jasser. Another power play for the Rhinos now. Just 17 seconds in here in the third period. Here at El Paso. Again, these two teams back in action tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Mountain Time as well. 6:45 Landers pregame show. Also like to mention to you, stay tuned to our socials this week. We've got some new developments coming on. The brand new coaches show debuts next week with head coach Jason Soupy Campbell and assistant coach Brett Smith. So definitely tune into our socials for that. We'll have some more information for you there as we get ready to transition to some new media formats. And hope you can tune in and join us. But nonetheless, now the Bugs down by a goal are going to be down a man. And this is a big kill as Kaiser is in to take the draw. Here it will be 5-on-4 with just the lone penalty going up on the board with the Coincidental Miners. But Hunka controls the face-off. Down the right circle, fed into the corner. Over the stick of Wolcott, picked up by Remy. Busateri tries to stick it out of the zone, turned away right in front from a knee. It's Earhart who blasted down the ice. So a successful opening 22nd of the kill. The Rhinos will track it down leisurely back in their own end for Tommy Shore. He had the second go-ahead goal for El Paso that brought in Costomo. Streak down the slot, right circle. Paddle stop there by Hodges. Deflects up to the blue line. Shore pokes it forward. He's got it back. Left point. Bugs try to clear. Second chance is rifled down. All the way for Zach Wilson. He'll go off for a change and a successful opening 42nd of the kill now. It's 18:58 left in the third. Bugs trail 3-2 here in El Paso against the Rhinos. Flipped up ahead and over the line left side. El Paso with a 4-player entry. Looks for a play. Back of the cage, they work it. Fed up top for Hunka. Top of the right circle. Tried to feed it into the slot, and the Bugs turn it down again and fire at the length of the ice.
No, it's good stuff there. Of course, here on this first choice personnel penalty kill, the Mudbugs are able to clear it down to the ice 3 successful times. And, of course, with 50 seconds left on this Jasser penalty. Of course, when I was down there just asking what happened, of course, I was back in the locker room, but first we're going to get to these developments, Zach.
Here's Nitrate, blue line, right point, sends down to the top of the right circle, back up top now. Fire of Nitrate through traffic, trying to go around the screening defender, and it's poked into the corner. Rhinos still hold offensive end on another 29 seconds of a power play. Bugs get it, can't clear it out. Nitrate gloves it down to his stick at the blue line. He's got it up high, top of the slot, 20 seconds to go. Feeds it off to the left point. Bugs turn to the side of the wall. Poloni got a stick on it, or rather Earhart. He's got it back, and he'll flip it down, head off for a change.
Now, so like I was mentioning, they were trying to find somebody to serve the other 2-minute penalty that was coming because, of course, Duke Earhart got that 4 minutes. Brett Smith said, and I quote, the refs can come tell us as the goal judge was telling us as the penalty expires there, and Chase Zakrisky was evidently that man, and the penalty expires.
Yeah, he had to go through his skates, but now it comes all the way down. Rhinos pick it back up, flip it up the wall to center. Gerhard back out there. Remy controls the puck. The righty stick will blast it in from the blue line. Takes a weird hop off the wall. Near side comes for Hunka. Hunka flips it across. Rhinos up the far side. Back over the middle for Hunka. Over the Rhinos logo. Now over the blue line. Works it over to the far half wall. Feeds it up to the slot. Rebound. That goes off the crossbar. And we stay on. Bugs still down by a goal. Up ahead for Earhart through his skates. Gerhard going to be in a foot race. He's going to win it. Slams on the brakes at the hash marks. Feeds it up for Barrett. Barrett cuts through the slot. Lost the puck. Into the corner it goes. El Paso will flip it out to the blue line. Bugs will pinch and hold in. That's Barrett again using his skating to keep that puck in. But eventually El Paso able to clear. Rhinos get it to the blue line. But Zach Wilson steals it away. Wilson feeds it up to the red line for Zakrisky. Chase it over the line left side. Into the slot. Drops it off for Burnt. Burnt rifles one for the blue line. That's turned aside. Barrett will track it down in the corner. Wrapped around the boards. Back of the cage. Picked up by the Rhinos as Porco will flip it up the far wall. Out over Burnt stick to center. Wilson backhands it to him. Right back to the blue line. Feeds it across for Barrett in open ice. Goes off of the boards around his stick. And El Paso steals it away. 16:22 to go. Third period. Bugs down by a goal. Up ahead. Gentilini goes off the edge of his stick. Wilson tracks it down back of the cage. Semengo ran into his line mate there as he's coming off the bench. Now up ahead quickly. Hoagland down the far side. Streaks down into the corner. Hoagland back of that. Still has it. Going coast to coast with it. Up top. Blue line. Fired. Wilson. That drive sent just wide. Picked up by Earhart. He'll turn and fire. Right on the doorstep. Semengo cuts in. Got knocked off the puck. Earhart tracks down a loose puck. Left circle. Up to the top of the circle. Now goes to the blue line. Down low into the left corner it goes. Wrapped around the boards. Up the far wall. Around the referee, it's Semengo. Lost the puck as he got knocked out along the far wall. Played out by the Rhinos. El Paso brings it up. It's Porco. Will rifle it down. Icing is waved off as he gained the line. Now it's taken away. Up the middle of the ice. Bugs come. Now far side. It's Earhart streaks through the D. Lost the puck on the second poke check by Bergner. Bergner's got it around one defenseman. Streaks down the slot. Tried to hit the trailer, and it goes wide of the stick that time of Brendan Murray. Fed back up to the blue line. Held in. Big drive. Stopped there. Turned aside. Diulio picks up. We haven't seen him in a while, and he'll bank it out to center ice. Into the skates of Wolf Talby. Trying to corral it cleanly. Poked away from him. Rhinos track it back down. It's Nitre in the left corner. Give it away in front. Big shot there for Griner. Rebound. Wolf Talby gets taken down. Referee's looking away. Didn't see it. Right down the slot. Could have been a power play for the Bugs. And now it's flipped out ahead by El Paso. Foot race for it. Poloni tries to go after it. And nice dodge of a check that time for Platuni. He got the first goal for the Rhinos. It's banked out to center ice. 14:43 and rolling. Good pace early to this third period as the Rhinos track it back down again. Hitting the brakes is Neely. Neely flips it up the near half wall. Played out to center by Gentilini. Case gets it. Turns and fires from the red line. And they'll say he was behind the line, so that'll be an icing. And that'll draw Wista with 14:30.
And of course, icing, all icings, all Mudbugs icing, more importantly, and brought to you by our friends at Louder Baking Company. A quick big thank you to Louder Baking Company, as well as Doc Sandwich Shop, the newest corporate partners of yours, Shreveport Mudbugs, Zach.
So here we go, offensive zone draw for the Rhinos. Right side, Kaiser is in to take it, the captain of the Rhinos.
Camden Kaiser had that deflection goal back in the second period, of course. And that was one of the things that...
Yeah, that's the go-ahead goal as of now. Neely's got it, right point, down into the right corner now. Looks for a play. Bugs bank it out to center ice. Picked up again by Jared Grinder now. Works back into his own zone, feeds it to his D pair. D2D at the circle for Case. Flips it up off the edge of the stick of Grinder. He's got it back with speed down the right wing. Flips it in for the blue line. It was an odd-looking save from Medelski there. Almost missed the puck. Now El Paso flips it up ahead. Foot race for it. They're going to win it. Down to the left corner. Looking for a shot. Wide of the net. Wraps around to the far wall. Back out to center ice. Picked up by Giblin. He calls for a change and heads off. Rhinos play it to the blue line. Brought in over the line. Onside, but then back the other way. Here's Grayson. Overskates it for a moment. Still got it to Zakrisky. He'll leave it off for Barrett. Barrett in the slot, feeds it off to the right wall. Adams turns and fires for the top of the circle. That got blocked in front. Rebound for him. He tries to snipe it, but it goes off of Badowski and all the way down. Mitchell Reed tracks it down. Reed, the number 2 in white there, as it's brought in by Sakriski, just barely offside as Gerhard was about maybe a half a skate blade ahead of him.
No, I know he was half a skate blade ahead of him, and unfortunately that leads to offsides, and we're getting ready to head out for a media timeout. Zach, we'll have to get more on those thoughts as we come back. Of course, as always, you're listening to Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey here on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network. We'll be back in a moment.
Fireplace Specialties is a proud corporate partner of Shreveport Mudbugs Hockey. Fireplace, gas logs, glass doors, wood stoves, mantled and grills. They've got it all. They're located at 8500 Box Road in Shreveport or on the web at fireplacespecialties.net. Once again, that's fireplacespecialties.net. Fireplace Specialties is your fireplace headquarters.
.13:31 left, period number 3. Rhinos on top 3-2. Bugs trying to get an equalizer for the third time today. Sakriski and Earhart have the 2 Bugs goals. And as they huddle at the bench, trying to draw something up and get that magic play. This third period has been pretty handily defended by the Rhinos, and the Bugs just don't have that spark on offense they had maybe in that first frame.
No, absolutely. Well, I say absolutely not, but there's been some chances of chances, if that makes sense, from this Bugs team as faceoff will come out on the other side of the Rhinos bench, outside their own zone, of course. But I get the feeling this third period is, as we have 13:31 left, and of course 1 goal deficit. I get the feeling this third period, as we continue on, is just going to get a little more intense, especially as we go along. There's really not much left to say there, Zach.
So Wolf Talby in to take the draw in the neutral zone. He's appeared in every game so far this year. And again, his last goal prior to the New Mexico series was back in October. And the game he's had, we'd love to see him get a goal as the Bugs have to control. Remy feeds it across the near wall with speed now. That spark kind of coming back a little bit here, but El Paso forces a change of possession. They'll control in their own end to their own blue line. They try to quarterback something here. Wolf Talby gets it back over the Rhinos logo, feeds it up for Jonah Jasser, and over the line left side, sends a shot from the blue line. Wolf Talby will corral the rebound, tries to one-time it towards the net, gets it back far wall. Looks for a play, fires one through the crease. That one's just wide and goes all the way over the Poloni's stick. He'll track it down at center. Nander flips it up to the far wall, in over the line, just barely. Bugs were caught on a change, had no help. They'll dump it in. El Paso gets it back of the cage. And it's played now below the goal line by Nitrate. He'll settle it down back of the net. 12:42 to go, third period. Bugs trail by a goal. Nitrate holds some more, Duncan, just for you.
and even holding some more, but he drops it off, though, there.
So Rhinos will start it up. Off the wall by Hunka. Played to LaViolette. Takes a check. Lost the puck. That's what a check's supposed to do. Separate body from puck. That's the language in the rule book. Now it's brought up ahead through the crease. Shot there for Wilson. Tried to one-time it coming on the rebound, but a nice stop there by Medelski to not give up the rebound. Now El Paso in over the line. Left side. 3-player entry. A nice diving stop by Hoagland. Forces the puck to the wall. Then forces the turnover at the blue line. It's flipped out to center. Gloved down by the man off the bench. It's Murray. Murray comes up the near wing. Dodges a check from Wilson. Wraps it around the board. Back of the cage. It's picked up by Burnt. He'll flip it up. Gives it a cross. Waiting for it now is Earhart. He'll corral it off the boards. And he'll backhand it in over the blue line to go off for a change. El Paso is going to catch the Bugs on the change here as it's brought in. Platoni walks down the slot, off to his left, fires at the circle. That one's lifted up over top the net. Into the far wall it goes, back up top to the blue line, held in by the Rhino. Shot there, whistles through the crease. Goes over to the near half wall where it's turned to the slot. Nobody was home for the Rhinos, and the Bugs will play it up. Gerhard calls for the puck. They try to headman to it, but it's intercepted at the red line. Goes off a body in front. Now El Paso plays it in over the line. It's Bergner. Stripped of the puck, though, by Sakriski. Gets it right back through the skates of the defenseman, but Adams tracks it down the center of the ice. Gives it off to the right, over the blue line. Shot there. It's turned aside by Medelski again. Into the far corner it goes. Goes right out in front. Top of the crease. Turned aside by El Paso. They'll bank it out to center. Foot race for it. Mitchell Reed will win the foot race, but it's stolen away from him as he's got a size disadvantage there against Poltoni. But eventually the Bugs turn it back out to center. Gerhard rifles it down. 10:53 to go in the third. 3-2 the score in favor of El Paso. Rhinos play it up to their own blue line. Here's Kaiser. Gains the zone. Fires it. Got tipped on the way towards the net by Giblin. Almost had a great shot there. Hodges is able to stop the redirection, goes all the way down for Neely, who tracks it down back into his own end, retreats and banks it off the boards right in front of us. Jasper picks it up at the center red line. He'll dump it in. Griner is going to chase after it, but Elski out of his net to play it. Up the far wall it comes, all the way back down. Case is going to get to the puck before it gets to the red line. Icing is washed out. Flips it up the wall for Wolf Talby. Centering feed there, goes right in through his crease. Now it's cleared. Yeah, it doesn't get out of the zone, though. Now Case will pick it up. Feeds it to Jonah Jasser. He'll dump it in for the Rhinos logo. Icing is waved off. If he had just barely gained the line, I think El Paso also might have gotten a piece of it. Now it's played in. Case is going to have to track it down. He'll backhand it up for Wolf Talby at the center red line. Now Remy tries to feed it. And it goes back for Wolf Talby, who fires it into the El Paso zone. He gets it back at his own blue line. Jasser through his skates. Up ahead it goes for Wolcott. Wolcott gains the zone middle. Down the slot, feeds it off to the right circle. Shot there is kicked aside off the stick of Costomo that time. He'll track it back down, bottom of the left circle. Up top for Gaudette. He fired one from the point. That takes a weird hop. Might have gotten a piece of the referee. Now it goes back for Gaudette. Slides it across the blue line. Just barely stays on time. And he'll fire one to Hodges, who gobble it up and hang on for a whistle with 9:28 left to go in this third period.
Well, Tyler Hodges is, and it's appropriate. There's 31 shots for the Rhinos there. Tyler Hodges just stopping those. Well, all but 3, of course. But again, those are the faults and stars of Tyler Hodges. I already used that joke, but you get the point, though. Of course, as the face-off now will come out to the right of the aforementioned Tyler Hodges. Evan Hoagland will take the face-off. And of course, for El Paso, taking it will be number 20, Charlie Turner from Colorado Springs.
Turner wins the draw. Big drive there. That's turned aside by Hodges. Held in at the blue line. Stays on side. Into the left corner it goes for Gentilini. Centers it right in front. Point blank range. Hodges robs a man in front. That's Turner looking for a goal. And I don't know how Tyler stopped that one, but he keeps the Bugs in the game.
Oh, he just did an excellent job, and now Zach Wilson gives it off to Earhart. And of course, that was a broken play.
But yeah, that was not a well-timed pass that time at the blue line, but Hoagland got it behind the net, works around to the far, flips it up for Burnt, looking for a play. High slot, Hoagland fires, that's stopped, and some more mixing it up after the whistle there, but what a great stop for Tyler that time down.
No, that was a great stop by Tyler Hodges. Had an open advantage there, of course, for Turner, and Hodges able to just slide back in and stonewall him. I do mean Stonewall. I'm not talking about Stonewall, Louisiana. But moving on here, though.
I am not going to call it per se. I'm just going to put it out there, see what happens. That's going to be a big play in the game.
Well, knock on whatever material our table is.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier during morning skate. It's not metal, but it's not plastic either. So, and it's not wood. Yep. So I don't know what that leaves. The science guys will have to figure that out.
Yep.
But offensive zone draw win for the Bugs. Back to the blue line for Adams. Turns it into the corner, centering feed there. Goes through the slot, comes over to the near wall, picked up by the Rhinos, brought in by Patulny, but he's taken away from him as Reed flips it up off the edge of the stick of Gerhardt. He'll touch it ahead into the right corner. He wins the foot race, dodges 3 Rhinos to get to it, moving around him like traffic cones out there. As it's played out to center ice. You like that one? That's good.
Just a little.
Adams will flip it in from the center line. Almost got a shot on net out of it. Medelski wraps it around the kick plate there to the blue line. Bugs are unable to hold it in, but they get it right back at center. Gerhardt through the middle logo will fire it in, gets a shot on net that time, and Medelski has to come out of his net to pounce on it. That would have been a juicy rebound, but that stops time with 8:08. And, you know, we're trying to figure out a way to describe the jerseys. I think traffic cone sums it up pretty well there.
No, I think traffic cone describes it. I've heard it be described as traffic cones, but I was trying to be a little nice. But, no, I think traffic cones is the right word for it. And one thing I was going to mention, though, Grayson Gerhardt, what's interesting about Grayson Gerhardt, I've always found this interesting, 6'3", 205 forward from Allen, Texas, moves like a man almost half his size, if you've noticed, in the foot races he's been able to get in as the faceoff comes off to the right of Michael Medelski. Of course, Jasper now will get kicked out of it. Of course, that'll be 5 yards on the play, but Jarek Griner will take it.
We haven't had too many false starts today, so I'll take it as the puck is wrapped around the end boards to center. Takes a weird hop off the boards right to Giblin's stick. Down to the bottom of the left circle, into the corner, trying to work around Poloni, who shoves him off against the boards. Remy comes in to help. He gets grabbed from behind, looking for a penalty call. Not going to get one. Allison slashed away of his D partner there. That's Nitre. Sent towards the wall. Into the corner it goes. Took another weird hop off the boards. Went right off the side of the cage. Jasper took a high stick. He draws another high sticking penalty the second time today and Poor Jasper's been beaten up the last couple of weeks, Duncan.
No, he has, and all right. Well, that was something. Remy Pusatera going over there and slamming the beer pyramid down if you're watching on NATV, but back to Jonah Jasper. He draws that penalty, and it's a good thing because the Mudbugs now getting another chance on the Scott Powerline power play as we headed to break here. Hopefully the pyramid folks won't be too mad, but we move on.
They don't look very happy. Nonetheless, we'll take a timeout. Under 7 to go, third period. Back in a moment. This is Mudbugs hockey.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
All right, here we go. Third period. Bugs headed to the power play. And, well, I think we're going to have to say it again, Duncan. I know we say it every power play.
Just
but
crucial.
Very crucial.
Especially now with the time ticking away. It just becomes that more crucial as the Bugs go here on the Scott Powerline power play, and the faceoff will come out to the right of Medelsky. So.
Batolny, Shore, Kaiser, the goal scorers for El Paso, Sakrisky and Earhart for the Bugs. Rhinos lead 3-2, 7:42 to go in the third. Shots 32-28. Bugs have been hanging with them.
Yep.
Just got that one or two bad bounces that's really been the difference. I think the Bugs have looked like the better team for most of this game.
No, I think so. No, I think so as well, Zach.
So here we go. One to the wall. El Paso will wrap it around the boards all the way down. So here we go. We'd love to see the clock here, but they got a big noise meter on the board, so that's what we get to look at instead. But nonetheless, Griner up the near wing. Now we got it. 7:25 to go in the third. Gerhard slams on the brakes. Looks for a shot there. Here's Burnt. Right circle. Feeds it back for Gerhard. He'll circle it back up top to the blue line. Waits for it. Hesitates with the toe drag. Shot there. Simons got held in front of the net. Couldn't get to the loose puck. Nonetheless, it's cleared out by the Rhinos. And all the way down. Opening 40 seconds of the power play here has not yielded any results thus far. 7 minutes to go in the game as it's played up the near wall for Gerhard. Works off to his right. Gains the zone. Lost the puck. El Paso flips it off the top of the glass and all the way down yet again.
And of course now the El Paso faithful to our right just making as much noise as they can as Duke Gerhard is going to look the quarterback to play, and that's fun. But moving along here though, Zach.
So here we go. Adams drops it back to his own blue line for Earhart. Swings it off to the right, in over the line, wrapped around the boards. Earhart's going to win the foot race to it. In the left corner, up top for Jasser. Fed it to the middle. Hoagland got a tip on it, but it goes just wide of the net. El Paso gets it and fires it all the way down again. Hodges down to his knee, off to his left. Will play it at the circle. Leaves it off for Evan Adams. 34 seconds to go on the power play. 6:15 left in the game. Bugs trail by a goal. In over the line, and another pass that goes backwards at the blue line. That leads to an offside whistle.
I'll admit offsides, especially in a crucial moment like this, is something you don't want to see. And in my opinion, offsides, especially at this level, well, not even at this level, but just at this moment, is kind of a, I guess offsides as a whole is a ticky-tacky call in any sport that has an offsides call, but I digress those.
I say you want to talk about controversial offside. Not that I'm a soccer person, but I have not seen a more subjective rule in any sport at all. But here we go. Bugs give it away. D-zone. 15 seconds left on the power play, and now smartly El Paso just sends it all the way down, tries to kill off the penalty clock. Yeah. Almost like a 3-on-3, the new style of 3-on-3, not the fun part anymore. But Hodges will leave it off back of the cage. 2 seconds left on the power play, so the Bugs now 0 for 4 on a man advantage. Brought up near side, here's Case from the red line. Tried to feed it up for Earhart, stolen away, backed out to center. Picked up by Remy. Remy at the center circle. Will fire it in, and Medelsky's going to have to hang on for the catch out in center field for the out there with 5:29 to go in the third.
Catch out in center field. Love that. Love that terminology, Zach. And I could be wrong on this because my eyes aren't the best as I get older, but if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it Earhart's goal power play goal, or was it just as the power play expired?
It was right after the power play, if I recall correctly. I don't know. We're getting late here. You know, it's 9:37 Mountain, so that's 10:37 Shreveport time, or the clock that I'm used to for the last 7 years. It's almost midnight, so it's been a day. Nonetheless, Bugs still in it, down by a goal. 5.5 minutes to go. Controlled back of the cage. Getting taken down there with the bug back of the net. They try to feed it to Wilson up top, but it's stolen away. Kaiser flips it off to the left. In over the line again. Good battle there. Rhinos want a penalty. Meanwhile, it was the bug who got tackled, by the way, but nonetheless played up far wall. Flipped up the half wall. Diulio plays it to the blue line. Can't clear it out. Held in by the Rhinos, and this one goes out of play near the beer pyramid. Knocks it down again. As they had built it up a little bit, but now it's back down to 0 with 5:01 left in the third. This is some big moments here. We'd also like to remind you that Mudbugs Hockey is brought to you as always by Coors Light, made to chill.
So as they show this hit of the game, it's interesting. It looked like that was number 12. That was Camden Kaiser throwing a cross check to Liam Wolf-Salby as their hit of the game, and well, that's something. But as the road was going down to our left, it looked like Willie Tremblay was getting held on there by a member of the El Paso Rhinos as the Bucks win their faceoff.
So here's Adams up the far wall, feeds it to the red line. Don't know how the puck ended up where it did, but nonetheless, it's brought in by Gerhardt. Tried to feed it to Chase. He gets knocked off the puck and banked out to center ice again. Adams will track it all the way down. Gerhardt gets taken down away from the play. Referee letting him play here.
Yep.
4.5 to go in the game. 3-2. El Paso leads. Bugs have come back twice before. Can they do it a third time? Up ahead is Poloni. Banks it in. Goes a touch pass for Barrett. In over the blue line, but El Paso flips it out. Had a cherry picker waiting for it, but luckily it got held at the blue line by the Bugs. Now it goes off a Shreveport body all the way back into the zone. Poloni looks for a play. Up to the center logo. Touched ahead by Adams. Into the corner it goes. El Paso with the clear to center. Gerhardt picks it up at neutral waters. Gives it off far side now. In over the line is Wilson. Blows a tire and goes down. Tried to keep the puck in the zone. Did so for a moment, but then it's cleared down, and we're going to get an icing whistle with 4 minutes exactly left in this final frame.
Oh, but Zach Wilson was trying to hold on to the puck, and of course he couldn't hold on to it as we saw here. He was still tapping away at it, and just making sure that it, didn't lead to worse things. And that's a smart play if you're Zach Wilson, because you blow a tire like that, but you still don't want anything worse to happen when an unfortunate thing like that happens. So Zach.
The Bugs trail 32-30 in shots. They've outshot El Paso 29-22 since that first Rhino goal, because it was a bad start offensively for the Bugs, and defensively for that matter. But they've done pretty well here tonight. It's just that one bad bounce on that first Rhino goal, as now they'll bring it in. Does El Paso? It's Bergner into the corner. Around the end boards, gets knocked off his stride there. Wilson comes in and delivers a check. Separates body from puck again, but it's held in. Patuni will turn and fire it from the blue line. That's held in back of the cage. 3.5 to go. Here in the third period, 3-2, Bugs trailing, trying to come back for a third time. Up ahead outlet pass just wide of the stick all the way down. Icing is waved off as the goaltender came out to play it. As it's piled along far wall, picked back up back of the net again by Nitre. Works below the goal line, flips it up to the near wall. Intercepted by the Bugs, trying to go in the slot. Earhart got knocked down there, comes out to center for Adams. Over the center logo, flips it across far side for Burnt. In over the line, Earhart just able to tag up. Now it's banked out to center. Jasser off of the bench will retreat, but it's Adams who will grab it. Fires it up to center. 2:55 to go. Played up ahead. Intercepted at the blue line. Bugs bring it up. It's Adams. Knocked off the puck there. Gets it in over the line anyway. Dropped off again. Bugs trying to set something up offensively, but El Paso steals it away. Here's Shore. Hits the brakes at the blue line. Looks in the slot. Fires one. That got turned aside. Hunka tracks it down. Bugs get it back. Here's Jasser. 2.5 to go. When does Hodges come out of the net? Flipped up to center. Over the stick of Griner. Looks for a play. El Paso now. Hunka will paddle it forward all the way down. Burnt, and that was almost too many men there on the Bugs. Now up ahead, Griner on the outlet pass, waiting for numbers. Tries to deke around a defender. Lost the puck. Flipped out to center. Goes off with the back of Jasser and into the control of Smith. Smith cycles it down to the right circle. Centering feet there just wide as Hodges got his skate blade on it. 2 minutes to go. Bugs need to get it out of the defensive end so they can get the extra skater out there. Tied up left wall. Burnt for Wilson. Looking for the play. Hodges still in his crease. Bugs out across the center red line. Now into the zone. They can't get any pressure. Hodges stays in there. 1:50 to go. Along the near wall it comes. Hodges still out there as the Rhinos get it back. Kaiser brings it down the middle of the slot. That looked like an offside. Both linesmen looked at each other, then said it was good. And that puck is up, and I thought we had a whistle there, but nonetheless we play on. There's Gerhard, left wing. Just barely stays onside himself. Fires one. Shot is blocked there. turned upside to the wall. Hodges stays in the net. 90 seconds to go. Now we're going to get a whistle as the puck comes out of play with a minute 25. And let's see what they do with Tyler Hodges. Ozone draw. Let's see if Soupy will use his timeout. He's got the board out, and I think he's going to use it here.
I think he is too. Of course, that puck bounced into the El Paso bench, off the El Paso.
See. Waiting for the signal. Linesman waiting for Soupy to say if he's going to use it or not. And we wait in suspense, and there is the timeout. We'll take it with them. 85 seconds to go, third period. Bugs trying to mount a comeback in a moment on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
Hey, Mudbug fans, if you're looking for the perfect spot for a birthday party, corporate event, school trip, or any other private outing, just call us at George's Pond here at Hirsch Coliseum at 318-636-7094 to book your event today. Once again, that's 318-636-7094 here at George's Pond inside Hirsch Coliseum.
Here we go. Final 85 seconds of the hockey game. Bugs have played well. They've outshot the Rhinos 29-22 since the opening few minutes of the game. But right now, Duncan, they find themselves down by a goal, and they've had their chances, but it's been a great goaltending thus far.
No, it really has. And, of course, we mentioned Tyler Hodges stopping 22 of 25. And, of course, on the other side, Michael Badelsky, 19 of 21. So, really, it's been a goaltending game. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, this is, how do I put this? I predicted it would be a goaltending game. It's been just that, but it's also been a defensive game because, well, the goalies can do a lot of things, and I respect goalies from that effort, but you also got to have a defensive effort. And both teams have had that defensive effort. And of course, now the net is empty for the Bugs as Tyler Hodges is down there on the bench. Of course, now the Bugs are up to their feet as Chase Sakrisky will take the face-off for the Bugs against Camden Kaiser.
And here we go. Earhart out there along with Burns, Hoagland, Wilson, Gerhardt out there, but the face-off is controlled. Wolcott, Kaiser from the blue line, he scores. And that ended quickly for the Bugs.
Yeah.
It gets the goal just 12 seconds after pulling Hodges, and it's 4-2.
Well, Zach, I don't really know what there is to say on that. Anytime you pull a goalie like that, you got to be able to keep it in the zone. Of course, now we watch it on the big board here in front of us, able to back it out of their own zone, and then, of course, here for El Paso.
And you mentioned it. It went through Gerhardt's skates, went through Burnt's skates, and Kaiser leads the team in goals. He's got his second of the game. He's now up to 21, 36 points overall. And, well, the Bugs had a great effort tonight, but they're going to come up short, it looks like, unless something miraculous happens in 74 seconds.
Well, no, I mean, I've seen things happen in shorter amount of time, but as we see things here, well, Zach, I really don't know what there's left to say on that front, but yeah.
Now it's been a great game for the Bugs. You always want to see how guys are going to respond after adversity.
Yep.
2 tough games last week and come back, start off kind of slow, outshot 10-1. And then you come back twice in a game. You face that adversity, keep the fire up. And it was a good rebound for the guys, despite what the final score might be. Face-off at center, 74 seconds to go. DiUlio wins the face-off. They'll leave it off for Case. Up ahead, DiUlio down the center circle, feeds it in, wide of Simon's stick. Banked off the top of the glass, held in by the Bugs at the blue line. Hodges is staying put in the net, so they're not going to risk any more goals here. DiUlio with a shot through the slot. That's turned aside. To the far corner, it goes for Porco. He'll flip it up the wall to center. And all the way down, picked up by Owen Case at his own blue line. Paddles it forward for Reed, overskates it for a moment. Now it goes through his skates into possession of the Rhinos. Down the slot they come. Shot for Hunka. Big stop there for Hodges as the trailer went sliding into him. Tremblay picks it up back of the net. 30 seconds to go. Tremblay up the far side wall, flipped up to the red line, all the way down. Icing waved off as Badelsky's out to play it. Rhinos will settle it down back of the net. 25 seconds to go. Bugs down by 2. They've outshot the Rhinos after that opening few minutes, but the Rhinos get the final tally of shots 34-31. Barring any other shots, here is Remy. We'll flip it over for Polonier. 10 seconds ago, works out of the near corner. Across his blue line, now across the center, red line dumps it in. To stop it is Badelsky, sent it to the wall. The clock's going to hit 0. The final buzzer is going to sound, and now Semengo is going after Kaiser back of the play. Lyman steps in, and Semengo going after the whole Rhino squad there. They come off the bench, and he'll be escorted off, and nothing more will come there.
Looks like the beer pyramid over there got knocked down, but no, he was trying to get something with Bergner as well there. But, yeah, like you mentioned, just not a... Sometimes these goals will bounce in the way that nobody wants it, but, yeah.
I'd say really the difference, because you scratch out the empty net goal, that's whatever. It's 3-2. And it's that first goal, that bad bounce down here. That was all the difference in the game. The Bugs looked a lot better than the Rhinos tonight.
No, I definitely think so. I think there was an effort there from the Bugs that they showed that this team is still fighting for a playoff spot and still fighting no matter what happens as the Rhinos in front of us circle around and just, yeah, Zach, that's just how we leave things. An effort that did not translate to the scoreboard.
So 4-2 the final. We'll take a timeout on the other side to Nicky's Mexican Restaurant. Post-game report. Back in a moment on NATV and the Mudbugs Audio Network.
For those that have fallen, I say get up. For those that are asleep, I say wake up. For those that are seated, I say rise. It is time. The world needs what we possess. The only hope for a dark world is the light of Jesus Christ. Let your light so shine.
Thank you for tuning in to this Word of God Ministries message.
Hey Mudbug fans, this is Duncan Welker with the Shreveport Mudbugs. DeFata & Associates Investigative and Risk Analysis Services has been conducting professional and private investigations for over 20 years. They offer both a full range of services to both businesses and individuals. Whether you need an investigator for a personal matter like a child custody case or suspect an internal theft problem within your business, DeFata & Associates can get you the information you need. Call Jerry and the team today at 318-635-9944 to talk about your case or visit them online at defatapi.com.
Zach Grant, Duncan Welker back here in El Paso. Bugs dropped this one 4-2 to the El Paso Rhinos. They showed promise at times, but now the losing streak has hit 3 games for the second time this season. Platuni got the opening goal for the Rhinos. Chase Zakrisky followed that up early in the second. A big goal for him. Shore retook the lead, make it 2-1. Duke Earhart tied it up once again for the Bugs. Back-to-back goals from Kaiser in the third period brought us to our final tally of 4-2. And the Bugs again dropped their third straight, dropped to 15, 3, and 3 on the season. But you have to love the effort, Duncan, coming into the game.
No, you really do. The effort is there from this Bugs team. And, you know, like you mentioned, if you scratch out the empty net goal, the effort is there, and it's really just a final score of 3-2. But, of course, the unfortunate side of things of my definition of how much I love goals when they count, no matter how you score them, is, well, it just leads to a 4-2 score for the El Paso Rhinos over the Bugs here tonight.
So Camden Kaiser gets 2 more goals to his total. He extends his goal lead to 21. And before we let you go here tonight, we'll take a look around the South Division, see how things shaped up with our out-of-town scoreboard.
Of course, thanks, Zach. Of course, the Oklahoma Warriors took down the Odessa Jackalopes 9-5, and that was an interesting third period there from the Warriors. 5 goals, and of course, as I mentioned back in the first period, this game was crucial for the Bugs as the Warriors were tied with points. So it looks like the Warriors will take that point tie, and as we move along throughout the South Division, Corpus Christi takes down the Wranglers 4-3 in overtime, with the overtime goal for the Ice Rays coming from Nick Evans at 2:30 in the overtime period. And then, of course, one other game in the South Division, New Mexico High School, they do take down the Lone Star Brahmas, so that is good on that front. Well, you're well, I don't want to say Lone Star hater, but yeah, Lone Star hater. Moving along, I think that's it in terms of South Division action. Of course, I'm not going to bore everybody with the rest of the league. Of course, one score of note, though, Kenai River is trailing Janesville 2-1, but that's all I got on that front. And of course, standings-wise, standings will be updated tomorrow morning, but you have to imagine the Oklahoma Warriors, well, actually, it actually got updated right now. So as it stands right now, Lone Star in first with 54 points. sitting at 25-7, 1-3. New Mexico 22-13, 2-1 with 47 points. El Paso, after tonight's win, 18-13, 1-4. So you have to imagine they'll go up to 43 points there. Corpus Christi able to get 2 points on the night, so they'll tie. Well, I said they will tie El Paso, but they'll sit at 41 points with 18, 15, and 3. Oklahoma got the win tonight, so like I mentioned, they'll move up in the clear race. 18-14, 1-1 with 38 points. Mudbugs, after dropping tonight, will go to 15-15, 3-3, and they'll sit with 36. Odessa, 14-16, 3-2 with 33 points. And, of course, Amarillo, the Wranglers, after getting a point, will sit at 2-1 with 31 points on the night. I believe the math is correct there, but as the highlights transpire, you just look at the effort there, Zach, from this Bugs team, and it's there. And that's a fun sign to see. But nonetheless, Zach, the effort's here tonight, and I get the feeling the effort's only going to continue tomorrow as we go in. Of course, we see that goal, that first goal there from number 2, Tommy Shore there. That's one that Tyler Hodges wanted back, and so I'll have to imagine, though. Well, I'm not going to say I have to imagine. The question is, will Tyler Hodges be back in the net tomorrow, or will it be Ethan Phillips? Well, we'll find out then. And, of course, that's all I got on my front, Zach. And, of course, no matter where you are, do good, be good. And, Zach, take it on home.
You know, the other thing, too, that one bad bounce really did change the game, but we'll see. Will we have a third straight weekend against El Paso that's split, or will they take all 4 points this weekend? Find out with us tomorrow. 7 o'clock Mountain Puck Drop at 8 p.m. Shreveport time. Our Landers warm-up show is always on the air at 6:45 in the same place right here on NATV, or, of course, as always, on the Mudbugs Audio Network. Back at home next weekend against Lone Star. Get your tickets today. Tickets.georgespond34.com or by calling the office 318-636-7094. Thanks to everyone for staying up with us late tonight. The Bugs have dropped this one 4-2 to El Paso. We'll say a good night, and the good thing about hockey, you get to do it again tomorrow, Duncan.
Yep, 24-hour rule in effect starting now, brother.
So here we go. We'll sign off one final time. Claws up and go Bugs. The final once more. El Paso 4 and Shreveport 2.